Hey everybody, this is Sam Ballard from the RPM Podcast. Planning an event and looking for a great time? Go no further than RC2U Racing for all your portable family entertainment. RC2U turns any occasion into a competition. Check them out online at rc2uracing.com.
And here we are again, episode 192 of the RPM Podcast. It is June 14th, 2021 at 7:14 p.m. I know we missed the last couple weeks. Josh has been working a lot of doubles. I was racing a lot and busy fixing Nancy's car from a wreck she had a week or so ago. My brother Tim was always ready to go. Unfortunately, he can't do the show himself. We need Josh's equipment. But I'm Scott Riggleman down in Manchester, New Jersey. My brother Tim Riggleman, America's Spotters up in Farmdale, New Jersey. Tim, how you been the last couple of weeks?
I'm good, ready to go. I got stuck on the log flume with Great Adventure yesterday, but I made it up.
Josh, weren't you the ride operator on the log flume at Great Adventure?
No, I worked in a section next to that one, although actually there was a large woman that got stuck in front of my log once. And we had to get evacuated and walk down, whatever. But,
all right, we got Josh Matthews, the producer of our show down in Waretown, New Jersey. Josh, how have you been?
Good. I just talked about my log.
Yeah, I kind of let you guys in a little secret. Josh is a licensed ride operator at Great Adventure. You still hold credentials for over there, Josh?
You have to be retested every year, but I could probably pass all those tests. But half the rides I worked are gone now, like Chiller and Freefall and Rolling Thunder. Yeah.
2 minutes into the show, we're already off track. But, Josh, there was the log flume, and what was the name of the other water ride at Great Adventure?
No, actually, there were two others. They had...
Splashdown, right?
They had
Rolling Rapids?
No. Actually, all right. So you had Congo Rapids, then you had Movie Town Water Effect, then you had the Irrawaddy Riptide, which was like the log flume, but it was more like a speedboat thing. The one that made the huge splash, the big wave, that was the Movie Town Water Effect, and then Congo Rapids was the one where you fit like 8 people.
It used to be Roaring Rapids when we were a kid.
Yeah. Well,
there was another water.
Roaring Rapids was my favorite because right before you walked into Roaring Rapids, there was an ice cream stand. So I would sit and get ice cream and watch all the girls come out with their wet shirts on.
Yeah, it sounds like something I'd do.
And that was my day at Great Adventure.
Okay, so back to racing. We do have a special guest on tonight. We have been working and we have been getting guests. Tonight, last week at Wall Stadium, the factory stocks had twin 25s, but also one of the main attractions of the night was the 50-lap Sportsman race. The Sportsman's had a 50-lapper, which is always a great distance. I love 50-lap races, and we're lucky enough to have the winner of the 50-lap Sportsman race on with us. We have Michael Carr, driver of the number 52 Sportsman. Mike, how are you?
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me on tonight.
You're welcome, Mike. Thanks for coming on. I know you're real busy with work and you're a family man. Plus,
my pleasure, man.
But I really appreciate you calling in. A great night. I mean, we've been talking about you all year on the podcast. We even talked a little bit over the winter about you when we knew you were going to go full-time Sportsman racing. When we found out that you teamed up with Timmy Steffen and with help from setup help with Rob Ormsby. And we all know you can drive. I mean, we've watched you race many years, even back in the Flemington days and stuff like that. Me and my brother said, "Hey, Mike's going to win 2 or 3 races this year, no problem." And here you are, we're not even a quarter way through the season, and you got a big win in the 50-lapper, which is great. We want to congratulate you on that. How did the race go? I mean, I see you started 4th. How did your race go?
We went the first 42 laps. I know that's hard to believe in the Sportsman division, but we went the first 42 laps green. And I had a rocket. The car was fast. I told Timmy on the radios that after hot laps, I said, these guys, this thing gets out front. These guys are in trouble. And, we got to the lead. Jeff Loesch had gotten to the lead, and I was real patient with him. I was faster than him, but I used a lot of patience with him. And, Jeff Loesch ran a really good race. His car was quite faster than what he usually is. And, just riding behind him and I pressured him quite a bit. You know, he ran a great race, and you know, I guess I passed him like lap 14 or so for the lead, and you know, I still kind of really wasn't 100%, obviously, that early in the race, but you know, I stepped it up a little bit more, being that you're in the lead. So you know, I kind of had Timmy on the radios with me Saturday night, and you know, he just continuously, you know, told me hit your marks, and we really wanted to win that race Saturday night. You know, after being off for, I guess, a couple of weeks with a rain out and then a scheduled week off, you know, we'd really prepared. We had scaled the car with Rob and put the car back to the way it was. We tried something, car really wasn't right. Car didn't like it. Put it back to the way it was, and car really came to life again. Time trial 5th, and you know, the car, I knew it had a lot more left in it, and it was going to race really well. So you know, once we got out front, and you know, caution came out lap 42, and you know, it pace of the race was, you know, I thought it was going to go green the whole way, and unfortunately, the great run that Jeff Loesch was having, I don't know what happened, but he spun out, and then he was the one, unfortunately, to bring the caution out.
Yeah, I did notice that, and you know, we always pick on the Sportsmans a little bit because of all the cautions, but I kind of want to blame it on Jeff Tice, our pit steward, because whenever he starts rushing the next race up to the line, which was us in the stage area, he's like, all right, this is going green, it's going green, you guys got it up here, you got to get ready, So we all rush up, get in line, get our belts and helmets on, and sure enough, the caution came out, and then, you know, the old saying, caution's a precaution. So once
and that's what happened.
Yeah, and you know, you guys went 42 laps, no problem, and then their last 8 laps took forever. But
it seemed like it.
You know, usually when they have these special races for divisions, like a 50 lapper or some type of tire rule or time trial rule, what was the deals with tires? Did you have to race the tires you qualified on? Were you only allowed to put 4 tires on?
We only had our normal 2 tire a night rule, where we could just buy 2. But me and Timmy, you know, the weeks before then, leading up to the 50 lapper, we had kind of made sure that we were going to have 4 tires for that race.
Right.
So we had 4 tires set up for that race. You know, so we, like I said, made sure we had 4 tires, and unfortunately, one of the tires that we had that, you know, really just would not size up correctly for us, so we only wound up starting the race with 3. So even
did
though
you have to start the race on the tires you time trialed, or were you allowed?
We did, yes. No, we started the race on the tires we time trialed on, and you know, I can't believe it, but we burned the right rear tire off of the thing in 50 laps. Really? It's kind of crazy, yeah.
We talked to you a little bit in the pre-show, and you told us what type of chassis you have there. I mean, there's you know, different types of chassis in the modified divisions. You know, there's the Furies, the LFRs, the Troyers, stuff like that. What chassis are you using?
It's one of the more typical, famous types of cars out there. It's just a 08 style Troyer chassis. It's one of the former Eddie McCarthy cars. It was my car at one point. He got it at one time from me, and then I got it back from him. But it's a real good car, real good car. Takes change as well when we change something on it, but you know, it's a perfect car for that place.
A little personal side story. Over the winter, Michael called me, and he was all in a rush. He's like, Scott, I'm buying a car. I'm going to look at it. I'm buying a car. I need you to pick it right away. I think it was a holiday weekend too. I think it was like Christmas weekend or something. I think it was like on Christmas Eve or something like that. He's like, Scott, I really need you to go get this car. Can you go please pick it up at 11? The car was all the way up by Mahoney Valley, so I rushed up there to get it for Mike. So I'm pretty sure that's the car he's using now, right, Mike? Since you were in such a rush to get it.
That car is actually the car. It was an LFR car. Eddie McCarthy, me and Eddie McCarthy wound up trading cars. Eddie McCarthy has a fleet of cars. He has an LFR car. He has a Fury car, and he's got a PSR car, I believe. But he really wanted the LFR car, so me and him worked the deal out. So I took his car. Financially, it just wasn't going to work into my budget to where, you know, with Timmy and I worked something out to where Timmy took on the deal. You know, Timmy bought the car, so now it's all Timmy's stuff now. But that's a whole another story. But anyway, but Timmy,
you rushed me up there on Christmas Eve.
Yes, I did.
You ended up not using it.
I did. But I really wanted that car because I knew the car wasn't going to be there long because it was an LFR car, and
that was a beautiful race car.
Yeah, it was a nice car, and I wanted something different that everybody else down here didn't have. Like I said, the 01, 08 Troyer chassis seems to be a real popular car that everybody has, and I just wanted something down here that not everyone had, especially in the Sportsman division. I just wanted something different, and that was the reason that I kind of begged Scott to go up there and get it for me. So,
what was the family's name that we got that car from? Was that the Hydett family? Was it Tyler Hydett?
Tyler Hydett, yep.
Yeah, and that's the car that Anthony Sesley, he drove for that team for a while. Now Ronnie Silk drives for them. Yeah, I'm telling you, what a beautiful race shop they had, huh, Mike?
Oh, yeah,
they built custom homes for a living in the Mahoney Valley region up there in Pennsylvania, pretty close by Pocono Speedway and Mahoney. And, man, they had a beautiful shop, Tim. They set up like a cup shop. They had 4 beautiful race cars in there. All the race cars matched. They had like a little office in there, all parts. And the day I picked that car up, the father was there, and he was one of the nicest guys I ever met. And it was fun to talk racing with him.
Yeah, Ronnie Silk drives for them now.
Yeah.
Yep. I think they run a lot of the open shows.
They go to those tri-track races and stuff
like that. Yeah, it's a top-of-the-line team there.
Do you know that – I know you said that the chassis you run now came from Eddie McCarthy. Do you know whose car that was before Eddie had it?
Well, I had it before him. I ran it for, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 races back in 2019. And then I thought I was done racing. I sold it to him. I bought it from a guy up in Riverhead. It was practically like a brand new car. I forget that guy's name. And then I sold it to Eddie McCarthy, and that was the car that Eddie McCarthy wound up getting his first win in. It was actually, I believe, the last race of the year in 2020.
Yeah, Mike, you're one of those guys that you retire like every 6 months and then come back every 6 months.
I know.
You're never quite ever out of it. We always know you're coming back,
I know. It's hard.
But
it's hard to stay away.
I did get to talk to you a little bit when you did buy that other car, and I towed it over to Billy Cole's shop for you. And you said this was the year for you. Like you finally felt like you had some good people behind you. You had a little bit of money saved up to go racing with, and you said this was your time to finally go for a push for the championship. Are you still trying to run the full season?
It's a push, and it's the sponsors that we got, and I can't talk enough, man, about them guys that are week in and week out at that shop and at the racetrack. And you, Scott, know, and I see you and Nancy at the racetrack every week, and as much as you did, and by the way, you did a awesome job on Nancy's car this week, man. Just looking at the pictures of that thing, and holy cow. But anyway, I could never do it without them, and I am in the best position I feel like I've been in since my father picked up and moved south. And I feel like Timmy's a real father type role model for me. And the guys that are around us have been his lifelong type crew people. And they've really taken me on, to where I feel like I've known them my entire life, and where they've just been people where you wave to them and said hello to them in the pit area. I feel like I've known them as long as I've known everybody. Like I just has been close to them, but now that relationship has just grown, and I've got Timmy brings the race car to the racetrack. I show up and there's no pressure, and I can't believe how different that as a driver, makes me feel, and the things that guy does, and for everyone, let alone myself, he's just a great dude, and I couldn't do it without him, my sponsors, him being the biggest supporter of my racing, and he's just an awesome dude. I can never say enough about him. He's a great friend. He's a great, we talk every day, and he's just a great dude.
Yeah, pretty much everybody in Victory Lane thanks Timmy Steffen.
Everybody does. I know, everybody does.
His hands, he's touched every race car in those pits. It's amazing.
He texted me today asking me if I was coming by the shop tonight. And I went by the shop. I was over there for a few hours. We took the car all apart and straightened out some things. And he told I swear, I think he told me there was 3 race cars coming this week that he had to fix. And it's crazy that, like you said, he's got a hand on something. You always hear Surfside Collision, in Victory Lane. Somebody's always thanking him.
Mike, you talked a little bit like this is probably the best situation when you've been in since you raced for your father, and your father's always had great modified teams. He always raced in like the Mad Division and the small blocks and stuff like that. He had some great drivers driving for him. I know Robert Schluttig was one of them that won a lot of races with your father. You guys always had beautiful 99 cars. Your father always liked the old Evans style chassis. He really liked those chassis. He preferred them. Just to let some people know, I think there was no way possible anybody could have ever grown up in a house closer to Wall Stadium. Mike, can you let us know a little bit where the house you grew up in and how close you are to Wall Stadium?
You didn't even have to take the road to get to Wall Stadium, put it that way. I had quads, and I could literally I can't tell you like how many times that I just would drive my quad up there and go up there during the week but it was literally I don't even want to say it was like a half a mile, but I lived right down the road in Carmerville, which is literally right across the street from the airport. So,
yeah. So Josh, if you're coming up Pearly Pond Road from Mulligan's, and you pass that industrial park on your left hand side, and as you just start going up that hill, there's that road that comes out on the right hand side. Right. That's Carmerville Road. That's right where Mike Carr grew up and his family. They had the normal house with a nice oversized two-car garage in the back, maybe a little bit bigger. It was a nice sized shop, and that's where Mike's family house modifieds for many, many years.
Yeah, it was an awesome place to grow up, man. And when my parents left and they picked up and moved south, it was difficult to accept and to deal with because I wasn't ready to go south yet. I wanted to stay here, and and they started their new life down there, and I chose to stay here.
Right. Did you work for your father too at the repair?
Yeah. And then, he sold his business, sold his house, and, I had to kind of like grow up quick because I was only 18 years old at the time. I had to like kind of find a big boy job and, just had to grow up quick.
I'm not sure who your father sold that house to, but I did pick up a junk motorhome there one day through the towing business.
That was there forever. And if they're still there, those are the people that bought the house from him.
Yeah, and there's still a couple doors, modified 99 doors hanging up in the garage.
Really? Those are the same people that bought the house then.
Yeah, that's crazy. It was just a cool little side note that Mike grew up like right in the shadows of Wall Stadium. I mean, it was basically he just had to walk across the gravel pit there, and he was at the racetrack. And it is a pretty cool little neighborhood back there.
Yeah,
goes pretty far back, and there's some little side streets that go off it. And basically, if you were like a quad guy or a dirt bike guy, you just pull right out of your driveway and you can ride for miles.
It was the perfect freaking thing.
Yeah,
it was the perfect neighborhood to grow up because the cops, when it snowed, or the plows never ever came out there. So like you could ride your quads all over the streets in the snow, and it was just awesome.
Now, do you remember them ever working in that gravel pit, like actually digging the gravel?
I feel like when I was a kid, it was like ending,
Right,
and
right. Same with me. Dirt bikes there from Farmingdale, but I never. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a few dump trucks in and out there, but it was like it was already mined out, and it was.
Yeah, it was pretty close to being mined out too, and we had just all people. They would try and chase us out of there, like the McDowell pits, I think it was called. Yeah. And they would try and chase us out, like cops would chase you out or whatever. But it was pretty mined out. I remember climbing that freaking big giant cliff a few times, and not making it once or twice, but for the most part, you used to always make it.
Are you still pretty amazed that they haven't done anything with that property yet?
I know, it's crazy. I really would have thought by now there would be homes or something in there.
Yeah. I heard there was thought they wanted to make a reservoir at one time too.
I heard that.
It's just a big piece of property just sitting there,
Just sitting there, yep.
All right, Mike. You talked a little bit about your chassis and everything like that. What about engines? What do you do for an engine?
I got an awesome guy named Frank Boardwick who builds my engines, who I have a very personal relationship with, and he's done me well, and the personal relationship that I have with him, that I've built with him over the years, he's a guy that I've gone to over the years, and he builds me engines and got great power under the hood.
And where did that engine come from? Obviously, it wasn't in the car when you got it from Eddie, because that's the motor that was in Eric Lane's car last year, and that's right, yep.
I got it from him.
Yeah, so you bought it from Jeff Lane and Eric Lane?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's an awesome piece for sure.
Do you know where you're sitting at now in the points after this race?
On my way home from Timmy's, I was just sitting in traffic, and I just checked to see if they had updated the points, and I saw that we had moved up to fourth now.
Do you know how many points you're out of the lead?
20.
That's not much, Mike.
No, it's
very much
I
the
mean,
thing, especially in that sportsman race. Basically, you
just
got your head on
freaking
your shoulders, and
that damn opening night freaking. I mean that damn freaking opening night fucking wreck, man. I mean that 15th place finish,
I had a
man.
right front flat opening night, and I had my worst finish at 6th. At least I got a 6th out of that.
Yeah, I got that 15th place finish. It's like my anchor.
Yeah, but it's like everybody's gonna have a bad night. You had yours.
Oh
early,
yeah.
So,
And I got such a fast car, man. It's so much fun to go out there and race. I mean, it's fun to go out there and practice, and and be out there.
That's one thing I like about a modified or a sportsman car. You just said it perfectly. Like, you even get the thrill of driving that thing out there on the track by yourself. They're so fun.
Yeah. It is. And the sportsman, like the modifieds, I've driven the modifieds, and they're so freaking fast. And, you're just on the edge. And, people are like, why don't you just build a modified? And, because you pretty much damn close have almost the same exact money in the sportsman nowadays.
Yeah, you really
that
do.
you do in a modified. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I want to race the sportsman division because, the sportsman division, you're just not going as fast as the modifieds are. And that modified division, you're just on the edge, like nonstop. And it's just that much harder to win and beat them other guys, that have that much more money. And I'm not sure if anybody's ever going to beat Andrew Krause this year, but I mean, Jesus. So it's just, I feel like I'm in my element where I belong is the reason that I chose to be where I'm at. And I'm really having a great time with my guys.
All right, Mike, a couple of interesting things happened in that race. I was the race after your race, so I did have the receiver on. I did hear the Dave Michaels, our race director, calling the 33 and the 38 car up to the tower after the race. It seemed like he was pretty mad about something they did on the racetrack. I also noticed in Tech, when I pulled in the pits, though, one of the cars was still over there in Tech. I know whenever your division has a big race, it seems like you get Tech more of those nights, and you did have a 50-lapper. Was it a little more thorough at Tech this week than most weeks?
It seemed to be. I did the whole congratulations thing with everybody and, get out of the car and, and Timmy and my crew just pretty much take over in Tech. And, I pretty much just talked to everybody and, slowly but surely try and weasel my way over to the trailer to just get changed real quick and then kind of come back over. But I know they checked every single, I believe, intake and exhaust, valve spring, carburetor, of course, like they do every week. And pretty sure that was it. But I heard there was one issue. One of the cars that was teched, brought something up to someone saying that they noticed that the 33 car that was in tech or something, they didn't happen to check anything on the car. I don't know. I wasn't over there physically. I didn't physically see it with my eyes. I just overheard people talking. So I don't really know what exactly. I don't really have a whole lot of input on it. If I said a whole lot, I'd probably be lying because I don't really know. I just, know and heard. But I know that the 33 car was over there in Tech for quite a while. But I know that somebody said something that the car was over there and nobody looked at anything on it. And then supposedly they were ready to send them off. And then somebody brought something up to say, no, you didn't look at anything on this car. Look at the same thing on this car that you looked on our car.
Right.
So, not exactly sure what went on. I know my car was legal and we got the win, and that was really all that I kind of cared about.
See, that's the problem I have over there with Tech. Like, it's like as soon as you win the race, next thing I know, I'm pulling my carburetor off. I'm pulling the rear end apart. It's like you don't have like 5 minutes to enjoy the win. And like, you go from winning driver to mechanic in the pits.
Yeah. Luckily, I got my guys right there to just they wheel their tool cart over there, and they're right there to take everything apart. And
I tell you what, I race all over the place at many different racetracks, and I tell you what, I think we have the best tech going around. I mean, I've won at other racetracks, and it's like tech's like a total joke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think Wall Stadium is very professional with their tech, the way it's set up, where you come off the track and the tech's right there, like you're right on the scales.
Yeah.
They have a little area for you to work. I mean, I think Rob, Steve, and Skip, I think they all work very good together. but Mike, I am sick of pulling my carburetor off.
I tell you what, Timmy says the same freaking thing.
It's the same. I'm like, you've looked this carburetor 9,000 times, and we're allowed to run a good carburetor. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, really?
Timmy says the same thing.
It's a good carburetor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just don't understand the carburetor thing. Like,
it's so funny because he says the exact same thing, and they continue to keep on saying that that's the number one thing. We're gonna take the carburetor off every week, and I mean, whatever it is, what it is, and I'm just, you had a good night when you're in the top three, and if you're gonna, take the carburetor off and, still smile about it, though,
Did your father still follow along with what you do with your racing up here?
We talk just about every day. I miss him to death, and I wish he was still up here to be a part of it and to be able to come. I wish he was there Saturday night to see it. If you obviously we're all friends here on Facebook, but if you look on that particular photo that I posted, I guess it was yesterday morning. If you look at the orange sweatshirt on my Facebook on that particular photo, that's my mom jumping up and down in the photo.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just I miss him to death, and I wish he was here. I tried to get him to come up for opening night. He's down in Tennessee, but he's afraid to make that long of a drive because of his physical condition. He doesn't think he can make that long drive without maybe stopping every hour.
A beautiful motorhome. Does he still have the motorhome?
No, he doesn't have the motorhome anymore.
Does he still have my Monte Carlo, or did he sell that?
Yeah, no, he sold that.
Yeah.
Probably wishes he didn't, but
I wish I never sold it to him, to tell you the truth. But
yeah, that was a nice one. That was in good shape too.
Tim, wasn't that Jesse Blewett's mother's car?
Yes, it was.
That car was like low miles. Like everyone who owned that car never really drove it. That was a good Monte Carlo SS.
Yeah, it was in nice shape. I remember when my dad got that.
All right, Mike, we really appreciate you calling in. We're going to let you go.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yes, sir.
Being in the stands, when that one yellow came out, when the 33 went up under the fence, there was a lot of confusion in the stands that why didn't they put the 33 to the back, because he basically caused the caution. He did keep going and he merged in the fourth. So the way the rules go, either he was the cause of the caution, should have went to the back of the pack, or if they went with the merge rule, he should have been fourth. What do you feel about that?
I was listening to the guys on the radio. I had Timmy, and then the one guy who listens to the, I guess Dave on the receiver. They were just, I guess they were at the time we went around the track for probably 5 or 7 laps. I guess they were trying to figure out what to do at that point. Maybe they were trying to review the video footage or whatever, but I'm not real sure because it was it was in my mirror. I didn't see it, but I'm not sure if you guys watched like Kevin Davidson's in car, or even anybody really Kevin Davidson's in car, because Kevin Davidson was behind him when he rode the fence, and Kevin Davidson went to go left down the front stretch and didn't realize, I guess, Nelke was below him, and those are the two that spun out on the infield and brought the caution out. So maybe they just felt like he wasn't the one who brought the caution out or something. I'm not really sure. But
plus, like Tim said, he merged back and forth. But usually, when the yellow comes out, they'll go back to the previous lap, and maybe that was the position he was running the previous lap, and they put him back.
Maybe, yeah. That's the only thing I could really honestly. I mean, if I was behind it, and if I got a chance to actually, if I saw it, which I'm glad that I didn't.
Yeah, that's one of those rules, because they do talk about that in the drivers' meeting. When the yellow comes out, it's so hard to decide who was involved, who caused it, who should go to the back, who should go. And there's really no way to set the rule, because it's like every situation is going to be a little bit different. That's one of the tougher calls for the scoring people and the race director and the race officials to call. It's just you got to treat every incident or accident differently, because different things happen in that type of scenario. It's very tough to do. Sometimes, Mike,
I agree.
The call goes your way and you gain a couple spots.
That's the thing. Is like I told the guys tonight, or one of the guys that works for Timmy, like, he congratulated me when I went to his shop tonight, and I said, having a fast car is great and all, but man, you got to have the calls go your way. You got to have luck. You got to be in the right row. You got to be like, you just have, everything has to go your way to win. Like, you just, something so stupid can happen to ruin your night. And like, we prepared for this race, and like, we've been preparing for the same way for every race, but like, you know, we really wanted to win this 50 lapper, and we felt like that our car was going to be, it was back to the way it was, like I said, but like, it was just going to be really, we knew it was going to be a really good night, and it had to be, because it's been the car's been fast all year long. But, you know, like, I've got to, you know, before we go, like, I really, you know, want to thank my guys, and, you know, I'm sure that they're going to listen, you know, to this one either tomorrow or whatever. And, you know, Jimmy Blewett's been, you know, he's been in my ear, and he's become a, you know, we talk a lot, we talk every day, you know, him and Rob Ormsby, you know, without them guys, they've added, and Timmy Steffen is a big part of, obviously, of Rob Ormsby, and bringing all them on board, and this whole entire program, and it working out the way it has. And, you know, they're 99% of the reason that we're having the type of success that we're having right now. And, you know, of course, with the type of crew that I have and the knowledge that they all have, it's, you know, like, Timmy's just got to make sure that I keep my head on and maintain focus, and, you know, get out there and do what we can do and what I can do. And, you know, hopefully we can pick up some more of these checker flags throughout the season. And, you know, I'm having so much fun. Like, it's to win Saturday night, and, you know, to win our biggest race of the season, you know, one lousy 50 lapper is, you know, it's been awesome. And the text messages from everybody, and, you know, it's really, really been great.
Me and Elliot will always joke around. It's like, you know, I mean, there was a great crowd Saturday night. That's
oh my God, it was huge.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there's nothing better than getting out of Victory Lane in front of a full pack
with that type of crowd. Yeah.
Me and Elliot will always joke around. You know, at 10 o'clock on Saturday night, you're being cheered by 5,000 people in the grandstands, but by Monday morning, you're back at work and you're a nobody.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Short track race is the craziest thing.
I always used to say, like, I'm a big modified tour super spotter, right? Blah blah blah. When you're coming home from Connecticut, you hit the big bridge there where you go over, you know, where they're built the Bass Pro. Yeah, no, the other one.
Oh, the Amboy Bridge.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, now I'm back to being a nobody. So, Mike, one thing I wanted to say, get a little emotional here. A lot of people don't know it, but you were definitely John's protege back in the day. There was many nights there were many nights that we were working on John's car at Flowtech. He's like, I gotta go. I gotta get to Mike's. Mike's car's in worse shape than mine. And John Jr. be like, where you going? Like, we're going to Mike's. We're going to Mike's to work on Mike's car.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, Tim, because my mom, she sent me a picture, and she knows how much I miss him, and she knows how close that I was to him, and Jimmy knows how close that I was to him at one point in my life. And my mom sent me a picture, and she goes, I forgot to send you this. And Saturday night when she got home, you know, because it was a little chilly Saturday night, so my mom, you know, she's always cold at 90-degree weather, but she goes, oh, I forgot to send you this. So, you know, she took off, I guess, her long sleeve shirt, and she had her John Third shirt on Saturday night, and she's like, this guy was there with you on, you know, tonight. So it's just funny, because just like you, Timmy, and, you know, like I showed Jimmy yesterday what you had said to me on Messenger yesterday or Saturday night, whatever, and you know, it's cool to know how close and what my friendship was like with John, and how close and how good that I ran with him, and how close that we really were, and how much did I miss him, and how nice that it is being close with Jimmy again, and being close with him, and being in his race shop, and seeing everything around, and thinking about like how when I was in there with John, and when I was so close to him, it's very emotional, and being in the hut, and, you know, and just being back over there, you know, I mean,
John's memory is definitely still around, especially that wall. Man. Especially when you go over to the junkyard.
How weird is it to walk through the hut to get to Rob's? You first walk in the hut, it's all dark and dirty like a cave.
And then you walk back there and you can eat off the floor.
It's like walking to Willy Wonka's when you first walk into Willy Wonka's.
I went by the scale house the other day for the first time in a really long time, and I looked up. I wanted to go say hello to Seychelles, and I looked up, and it was the first time, you know, I see his, you know, his thing that's up on the thing up there, his picture or whatever, and I swear, Tim, I mean, I know how you were super freaking close to him too. And I miss him. And, not too long ago, I stopped by the grave. I mean, it was probably wintertime, I guess. And, I miss that dude so much, man. And what he accomplished when he was here, I can only imagine. Can you imagine what he would have done had he still been here? It's just amazing to think that. And, I do race for him and the things that he taught me and how much I still do think about him and miss him still to this day.
Yeah. He would have been proud of you Saturday.
For sure. Thanks so much,
Mike,
guys, for having me on.
We had you on for a little over a half hour now. We really appreciate you coming on.
I did want to ask one thing. I mean, I don't know how you followed that up, but we forgot to ask about.
Going for another 10 minutes. Josh has a question for you.
We forgot to ask what your favorite track food is.
Oh yeah, Mike. One of the questions we ask all the drivers that come on, you've been to a lot of racetracks like me and Timmy. I mean, you raced at Flemington back in the day.
Yeah.
We always ask people that come on what your favorite track food is. Do you have a favorite?
You guys probably laugh, but I got after racing so many. Oops, you guys still there?
Yeah, we're here,
Mike.
Oh, okay. Sorry. After racing so many years, my nerves are still so shot on Saturday mornings when I wake up. I don't eat at all on Saturdays, but even being a fan, I don't really eat track food. But if I had to say anything, it would probably be a bacon cheeseburger with barbecue sauce.
Okay. All right. I can get behind that.
But I'm kind of glad you said I don't eat nothing on Saturday either.
I don't eat.
By the time I leave the racetrack, I am starving.
Yeah, I'm starving too. Like I met Jimmy at Mulligan Saturday night, and we ate like we were eating for two fat kids. So it was cool. We did.
But
had
isn't
some drinks
that the best
and,
meal though? That's the absolute best meal on a Saturday night after a long day, not eating nothing after a win.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't feel as guilty, and it was awesome. It was that, but that's what I do. I just my nerves and all day long. You watch everybody eat, but I mentally, physically, I can't eat. I don't want to eat, and when I leave the racetrack, I'm ready to eat whatever it may be.
I'm exactly like you, Mike. And then you see some guy you're racing with 5 minutes before the race.
Oh yeah,
they're eating a tub of fries, and they're like, "You're gonna eat that now?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna eat that now."
Hell yeah, I see. Sean Carey, he's freaking eating. He's got a burger and fries. Like every time I see him race, he's like. But yeah, there's a lot of people that can do that. I can't.
I'm not one of them.
All day long. I can drink water and Gatorade. That's it.
I like hanging out with Scott after the race because then he orders a big meal and then he can't finish it, so then he's like, "Here, have all my fries."
That's what he'll eat after the races.
One thing about me, whenever I spot for Jimmy Blewett, I always have the unfortunate deal that I'm spotting for skinny Jimmy Blewett. I got to get in shape. I never get to spot for him when he's fat Jimmy Blewett wants to go out and eat burgers.
We ate good Saturday night, that was for sure. It was nice. It was nice, for sure. Well, thanks so much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right, Mike, we really appreciate you coming on. We wish you luck the rest of the year. Maybe we'll have you back on later.
You too, Scott.
Then.
Yep, congratulations.
Thanks, I'll see you around the pits.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it, guys. See you, Josh.
Have a good one.
All right, buddy. See you guys.
Josh, before we go to break and get our next guest on, you just want to do the Sportsman results now?
Yeah. No, there's a good time for it. Let me just open the page back up. All right, so as we were talking about Michael Carr getting the win, Carson D. Giant Tommaso in second, followed by Neil Rutt III, Jake Nelke, Jarrett D. Giant Tommaso, Larry Thompson, Kenny Reeves, Jimmy Wolcott, Kevin Davison, and Chris Silvestri round out your top 10.
I know we usually pick on the Sportsmans quite a bit, but they actually did put on a good race last night.
It was a great race. Yep, great race.
I tell you what, it's pretty amazing that the white Carson's car was able to finish, because he was literally on two wheels by the flag stand, Josh. And
wow,
for that car to have, I'm sure it wasn't perfect when it landed back on the ground, and for him to soldier on and finish second with this is really amazing.
But just staying in it, especially I'm not even making fun of them, but with really any division, but especially the Sportsman, just being able to soldier on at all,
right,
can guarantee you a good finish.
Right.
Just by staying in it.
And in the end, that can help. Like how Mike was saying, you need a lot of luck in this sport, because one little thing can go wrong, and that's a night where he survived to keep going, where, you know, he easily could have broke something in the right front or, you know, and been out of the race. But if the luck was with him that night where he did get up on the wall, but he was able to continue, and that'll probably help him towards a championship run.
Yeah, those extra couple points just by staying in it. I mean, that's a huge deal right there. Well, Scott, you remember that one night my car was out and I borrowed Hartwig's car, and, you know, I had a crappy run, but, you know, I was still there, and there was a couple points. You know,
some points are better than no points. You
exactly.
know what I'm saying?
So,
all right, we're going to take a quick break here and get our next guest on, and then we'll be back shortly.
See you on the other side.
You're listening to the RPM Podcast.
Listen to it with your ear holes.
And we're back for the second half of the RPM Podcast, episode 192. I want to thank Michael Carr for coming on. He was the winner of the Sportsman 50 lapper at Wall Stadium past Saturday night. It's always great talking to Michael. He's been around the racetrack as long as me and Tim has. Like we said, he grew up right next door to the track. I also have to thank one of our sponsors. It's Nick Catone. Nick Catone had a heartbreak loss Saturday night. We'll talk about that a little later in the show. But Nick does a great job supporting our show and helping us out with some stuff we need. So we want to thank Nick Catone MMA. It's over on 781 Brick Boulevard in Brick, New Jersey. He does all sorts of boxing, jiu-jitsu, cardio, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, all type of training and physical fitness over there at Nick's gym. It's a huge gym. If you're ever on Fisher Boulevard, Brick Boulevard, you can't miss it. The building's actually is a real big building. You cannot miss it. And if you want to do any of that type of stuff, workouts, give Nick a call. The phone number is 732-458-0133. All right,
he supports us with.
Night.
Sorry, I was going to say he supports us with everything but the graphic with his logo.
Yeah, we definitely got to get his logo going, so it's one of the logos up on the screen. But we'll get that straightened out with Nick, and we'll get that posted on the screen soon. It was family fun night over at Wall Stadium, which always packs them in, and they do some stuff. One of the, of course, we talked, Mike, before. One of the attractions was the 50-lap Sportsman race. There was twin 25 laps for the factory stock. But really brings a different crowd there and really packs the place in is Demolition Derbies. They had an 8-cylinder Demolition Derby, and they had a 4-cylinder Demolition Derby. The 8-cylinder Demolition Derby was won by Cedar Scull out of Browns Mill, New Jersey. It was his very, very first Demolition Derby, and we have Cedar online with us now. Cedar, how are you?
There.
I'm doing great.
All right, Cedar Scull, we really appreciate you coming on, man. I tell you
appreciate
what,
you guys
Tim,
having me.
Yeah, no problem, Cedar. I tell you what, Tim, I'm sure, Cedar, you heard it from the car, but I haven't heard the crowd at Wall Stadium cheer a winner on in any event like that in a very long time. Cedar, when they waved that checker flag over your car, the people went crazy. Man, that must have been a great feeling.
It was the best, especially hearing all the kids cheer for me after getting assigned the car. It was a really good feeling. Especially when I stepped out of the car and seeing everybody's hands up in the air. It was nothing like it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool what Cedar did. Cedar painted his car. It was a 2002 Crown Vic, which in the demo world is considered a bubble Vic. It's one of the newer Vic. It has the 4.6 motor with all the coil packs on it, which is a pretty tough build to build for a Demolition Derby. So you guys did a great job with that. But they painted it cool. They painted it with the Rugrats theme on it, the cartoon Rugrats, and they put the car up in the grandstands in the midway where the fans are, and Cedar let all the kids sign it. Anybody that wanted to come up, any race fan that was there for the night to watch the races in Demolition Derby, got to sign their name on the car. So now when the car goes down into the arena for the Demolition Derby, the kids in the grandstand feel a part of it because they got to sign it. So he had the fans behind him. That was whose idea was to do that, Cedar, to bring the car up into the grandstands?
That was all actually my wife Teresa's idea initially. She told me all about it. She said we should paint it, we should have kids sign it, we should have them put it up in the grandstands. Ron Lane II, my father-in-law, he was the one that made it happen to be able to go in the grandstands, and it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, just to let people know that I guess Cedar's now pretty much one of our cousins, Tim, because he's married into the Lane family.
The A1 racing team, the Lane's Dynamite Ron Lane, they're famous. They've been doing demo cars since we were kids. And did you know what a demo car was before you met your girlfriend there?
I knew what a demo car was, but I had never watched a demo. I'd never built one. I've never seen one in person. I mean, it was really all a new experience for me.
What about any other sports? Did you play any other sports in high school or anything, like baseball or football or soccer?
No. I've never really been into sports. I mean, I do a lot of hunting and fishing, hiking, but that's really about it.
So this is pretty much kind of the first thing you ever like competed for like a trophy, like a competition thing?
I mean, I've done some fishing tournaments, but that's not as directly competitive. I mean, you don't really see who wins till the end, and this was where I was directly competing against people the whole time.
God, man, you got a lot of courage on a night when the grandstands were absolutely packed at Wall Stadium. Your very first type of sporting event, and you're going down into an 8-cylinder demolition derby in an arena in front of all those people. That must have been a pretty thrilling moment.
What did you think? You got that first hard hit. You're like, oh damn, what am I doing out here? Or we having fun?
It was amazing. Some of the first hits were kind of light, and then I took a really good hit, and it rocked me pretty good. I saw a little bit late, and I was like, you know what, this is awesome. This is the best thing ever. But right from that moment, I was, I actually found the floor with my foot, and I really got going. It was a lot of fun.
I said before that it was an 02 Crown Vic. Where did the car come from? Where did you find the car? When it was before you started stripping it to make a demolition derby car.
Actually, I've been looking for one on my own for a while, and then I asked Ronnie about it, and he said that their friend Tommy DeSantis had Ron the second. He said their friend Tommy DeSantis had a couple cars, and they said I should message him, and he ended up having a few. So we went down there and we looked at some cars, and he hooked me up with a good car to buy from him, and it was kind of from there. I mean, he was actually the one at the end of the derby that I got to go up against, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you came head to head with him, and from an outsider looking in, that car looked like it was a little more built than what you had. So it was almost like a David Goliath thing, and that's another reason why I think the crowd got in behind you too, because it looked like from the grandstands looking in, he had bars all over the car. Like his car looked more built, where your car looked more like a stock everyday car off the street. So it seemed like the people got behind you because you're like the underdog story, which was pretty cool. When you got the car, did the car run, or did you have to get it running? Sometimes you pick up a demolition derby car and it runs, and sometimes the thing doesn't run and you have to get it running.
No, it ran pretty good. It moves. The brakes were locked on it, but other than that, it was a running and driving car, which really helped out a lot, so I could focus on actually building the car and not trying to fix it first. So that really helped me out.
Derby drivers look for when they're purchasing a car to build was rust and rot. How was the frame in that car, and how was the body?
Oh, it was very clean. I think the only rust hole in it was the driver's side floorboard, and that wasn't much. It was a very clean car.
That's pretty cool. I mean, so me and Tim used to build demo cars back in the day too. We've had cars that were so rotted out. We're like, why would we even bother building this thing? And then we had cars that were so clean. People were like, you're nuts. You should drive that thing on the road. Matter of fact, we had one car one time. Our neighbor bought it off us and drove it for years. They're like, you're not demoing that car. We're gonna buy it and drive it. And then when we're done with it, you can demo it then. Where's the car at now? You think you can get another derby out of it, or do you think it's pretty much used up?
I got it right now. Right now, it's at Ron the Second's house. I'm not going to use it again, but I'm planning on my younger cousin Levi. He was all into it when he went there. He went there to watch me, and he really wants to run a demo. So I figured it'd be a good beginner car. And considering I'm trying to learn how to build them, getting another car and building a second one will teach me even more. So I feel like it's perfect.
How much time do you have before the next demolition derby at Wall Stadium to build a car?
About a month.
About a month. Is that enough time, or do you think the demo should be spread out a little bit more, or do you like a month time?
I mean, I don't know about other people, but with the help from the Lane family, that's plenty of time for me.
They could actually build 10 cars in a month.
Probably.
The cars. I mean, the problem is now getting cars that run are expensive. What
were you saying, Tim?
Lined up already, or are you still looking?
I'm still looking right now.
I was saying back in the day when Scull was doing them, you bought 4 cars to the track with you in a month. I was building a demo car a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't take this long.
If there's anybody out there listening that has a big car and they want to donate it to Cedar for the next derby, that'd be pretty cool watching your car out there in the derby.
That'd be pretty cool. It'll be painted up nice too.
Are you looking for the same type of car, or do you have another year, make, or model in mind that you might want to try?
I'm pretty much looking for the same kind of car, but in early Lincoln Town car, I was looking for as well. But I'm just getting into this, so I'm not exactly sure all the good years, makes and models for the cars yet.
I mean, you did well with that 02, so maybe if you find another 02, you can build it the same way and go out and win again.
It was actually an 01, I believe.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Are they coil spring or they rear leaf springs? Those cars?
No, they're coil springs in the rear, I think.
Yeah, they're coil springs in the rear.
All right, Cedar, you did paint the car up with Rugrats. You said your wife Teresa helped you paint it up. She did a wonderful job. I mean, the characters on the side of the car were done perfectly. How much time did she have in there painting it?
Well, she actually, I went back to work, and she 7 hours. Yeah, she spent 7 hours painting the car. She went out there about 8 o'clock in the morning, and she didn't come. She only came inside once or twice for a quick drink, all the way to like 8 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
Well, at least you were out working, not working on a car. There was times when me and Tim would build the demo cars. I'd be cutting and welding on it, and he's trying to paint it as I'm doing that. So at least she had some free time when you weren't working on it to get the paint done. It was a nice color blue. Was it? Did you use like an automotive paint, or was that like a house paint? We used to use whatever paint we could find back in the day.
No, we used a light purple house paint that we found, and she used acrylic paints for the characters.
That's pretty cool. Did you roll it on with it or brush it on?
Yeah, we rolled it on.
The old roller.
It's funny. I got a call from Hartwig one night to go over to the airport to weld, I think it was rub rails on a 4-cylinder, and they were painting the car while I was there, and they had just finished the side that and because of the way I leaned, my fire suit had a big freaking. It was right after the races on Saturday night, so I had a big freaking.
Well, that's why I asked Cedar when she did it, because I wanted to know if like they were leaning into the paint that she was painting while she was painting it. But,
yeah, I stayed pretty clean, but she got kind of painted.
What's that, Cedar?
I said I stayed pretty clean, but she got all covered in paint.
We always lucked out with the paint, Scott, because I guess white. There's so many different color whites that they were hard to match. So there was always a lot of whites in the blem piles, the leftover stuff, and we always just bought some red and mixed it with, made it pink out of it for the war pigs.
Right. We'd go to Home Depot or Lowe's and we'd ask for like paint that got returned. Like they would sell it real cheap to us because they didn't match the colors up right, and then we would mix it the best we could to make pink, Sometimes it would come out beige, sometimes it would come out orange, but whatever, we were just having fun. But yeah, Teresa did a great job painting that car. She put 7 hours of her own time into it just to watch it get destroyed out there in front of her own eyes. But that's. I tell you what, people don't know. It's a lot of work to build a demolition derby car for about 10 minutes of fun. But when you're out there, it's the best 10 minutes of your life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Scott, when was the last one that you did?
Man, I can't remember. I was doing it with Ronnie, too. With Ronnie Lee, we were going out to Mountain Springs Arena and doing them out there. I think that was – I did do a couple at Wall Stadium.
Is that out near Cabela's?
Yeah, it's right past Cabela's. It's no longer there out in Mountain Springs Arena. They got bought out by a big warehouse. It's no longer there. They did it there for years. And that was a great place to do demolition derbies. But I did do a couple at Wall after that. And when I did see Ronnie Lean Jr. at the track Saturday, he's like, if you ever want to do one, just get a car and drop it off. We'll build it. But I'm so busy now with all the race cars and stuff. But I do miss the demolition derbies. I did enjoy watching Cedar and did bring back a lot of great memories. Even though they don't get the car count they did like when we were kids, Tim, it's still a nice little demolition derby. Don't get me wrong. You have 9 or 10 cars out there in a small arena. They're all well-built cars now. People are putting a lot more money into the demo cars now than when we did in the day, and they're building them to last a little bit longer because the body styles are getting hard to find, so they're trying to get more than one demo out of them.
They're hard to find, and a lot of people like to scrap them now instead of just get rid of them.
Yeah, I mean, the junk's so high right now, they just get rid of them just as quick, because they can get $500 or $600 from them at the junkyard. So the days of people giving you cars for free are far and few between. But you can always make a deal with a person too. Like, hey, let me demo it, and when I junk it, when we're done, I will give you the money. You can always work deals out like that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, Cedar, I know demolition derbies are addicting. Are you hooked now? Is this something you see doing for a long time now?
I'd say I'm pretty hooked. I mean, I'm excited to do more. I know a lot of my friends came out to see me, and I'm pretty sure I just got 4 more people into the sport. So
right.
So I'll be doing this for a while.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Wall Stadium has 3 or 4 demos a year, and that's a nice hobby. You know, build a couple demo cars to do the 3 or 4 local demos. And if you want to do more, I know Uncle Joey Hellbent, he goes all over and does demos. I mean, there's demos all over the place. I mean, they're big in North Jersey, they're big out in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Delaware. I mean, you can do them as much as you want, or you can do 3 or 4 a year and have a great time. You know, I think it's great that there's some new blood coming into the demolition derbies to keep it going. Are you sore today after the demolition derby? You know, it's been a couple of days. Usually, you feel the pain on the Monday morning after a Saturday night demolition derby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty okay. My neck's a little stiff, but other than that, I'm feeling good. I mean, I do tree work for a living, so I get beat up every day anyway.
Ouch.
You're out there with Teresa's brother too, Bubba. Bubba had a good run. You know, Bubba's been around the sport a long time. He was doing good, and you guys were working together. But I seen you put a couple good hits on him too, which was pretty cool.
He gave me a few too.
Just curious, where's the trophy at now from that night, and what did the trophy look like?
Right now it's sitting on my kitchen table at home. It was a pretty cool trophy. It had 2 pistons on the top of it, a big spark plug in the center. It was a pretty looking trophy.
Was?
Yeah, they went to that style this year at Wall Stadium with the pistons on the top and the spark plug. It's definitely a cool trophy. Wall Stadium has always given out beautiful trophies, and they're paying the demolition derbies very well because they do pack the place. I mean, that place was packed. And Tim, we were talking like after the stock car races were over, everybody stayed for that demolition derby. I mean, the crowd did not leave until that demo derby was over. It does take them a little time to set up the arena. There's really not much we can do about that. So you still have to sit there for about 10 or 15 minutes after the races to wait for them to build the demolition derby arena, and then they put them out there. Cedar, did they wet the track down?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They spray it with the fire hose, right?
Yeah.
So,
do you like the size of the arena, or do you wish it was a little bit bigger, or maybe a little bit smaller? Or do you think it's good?
I mean, being my first time, I don't really have too much to say about it. But I mean, it looks small from the grandstands, but when you're in there, there's a lot more room to move than you think.
Yeah.
I think it's relative. I mean, 9 cars is probably, a good size, but like when you have 14, 15 cars, it starts getting
you know what? That might be one of the reasons why they don't really they really can't set the arena up in case we spin into the infield with the race cars. But yeah, you're right, Josh. If they have 20 cars show up, they would make the arena a little bit bigger. I mean, because the arena is not built yet, so maybe they say, all right, we got 10 cars, we can make the arena this size. We get 20 cars, we can make it a little bit bigger. You're right. I mean, and like Cedar said, he did have enough room to work down there and move around and stuff. It was a great show, and I tell you what, the arena does get bigger as the demo goes along because they hit the Jersey barriers.
Oh, they knock them out.
Oh yeah, and it's amazing. I think a lot of people in the grandstands like that because they drive up and down highways every day of their lives next to these Jersey barriers, and then for them to see a car hit them and actually move the Jersey barriers back a few feet, they're like, "Wow, that's pretty amazing."
Well, we've seen the demo cars get out and bump into the track trucks before.
Yeah.
Cedar, so what was it like to win a Sportsman race? There, I said it. I had to get that out. Okay.
Well, when a demo, I know it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I was ecstatic. I jumped right out of the car. I was waving the flag. I was freaking out. I didn't think I was gonna win. I thought if I played it smart, I could get towards the end, but I wasn't expecting to take home first prize that night, especially being my first time, and just getting to win for everybody that signed the car, getting the win for everybody that helped me, getting the win for my friends and my family. It was amazing. There was nothing like it.
So
like I said to you before, it was cool to see. I was sitting there watching, and I could see Ron Lane Sr. He's down there waiting. And when they threw the checker flag, he couldn't get over you fast enough to give you a hug. And that was cool to see because Ronnie's been doing that a long time, and I was happy for the whole Lane family that you won. So that was cool. So the other thing I wanted to say, Scott keeps asking you what the trophy looked like because he got one of those for his 100th win. So he just wanted to brag that he got one.
I just wanted to know if maybe they did something different for the Demolition Derby guys.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, so you said that obviously this is your first demo derby that you've participated in, and that you never even seen one prior. But have you been around racing? Like other racing, a lot, or like what was your background? Like how to lead into this?
I mean, really no background at all.
Family.
Yeah, I mean, I'd watched the occasional NASCAR race at my grandfather's up until I met Teresa, and then she brought me to Wall, and she brought me around the family, got me into it, and it was really, I mean, I came in almost knowing nothing.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
But isn't it pretty cool, the thing about the demo, like you say, you start out with 9 or 10 cars out there, and you're like, all right, if I can just last a little bit, I'll be happy. And the next thing you know, like, well, that guy's not running anymore. I'm still running. And then you're like, oh, my God, that guy's not running anymore. Then you're getting down, like, there's only like a couple cars left, and I'm running pretty good here. Then you're looking at the shape of the other cars, and you're like, man, my car's still running pretty good, and his car's pretty bent up. Like, you get looking around, and before you know it, like, oh my God, I got a chance to win this thing,
That's exactly how it went, especially because my trunk folded up over my rear window, my radiator covered my front. I couldn't really see anything other than out my side windows. So it was like all of a sudden I was looking around, I was like, wait a minute, there's only one other car out here,
And there was a moment at the end, I think, where both cars actually stopped or stalled,
yes.
and you had to get them running again. And I kind of knew you were in good shape then, because when the other car started up, he was breaking up real bad, and he had like no power whatsoever. And when your car fired up, it sounded better. And he's got a good shot at winning this thing.
Yeah, the actual reason why the car had died was because I forgot to tighten my battery bracket back down, and when he made that final hit, I looked down and I realized my battery had flown to my back seat. So I had to go and find it and that car had a tinted windshield on it, and it was night, so I couldn't see anything in the car. Yeah. So I actually had to go and find it, and I got it hooked up just in time, and I couldn't see if I was hooking it up right either. I just kind of had to pray I put the right terminals on, because I couldn't see anything inside that car.
If they were wrong or not.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, when I was building the car, I accidentally hooked up the batteries backwards and almost ruined the entire car halfway through building it.
The fuel pump goes the wrong way. The starter spins the wrong way.
Yep. So it's kind of my little redemption moment.
Yeah, so Cedar, the next time you build a demolition derby, I can guarantee you the battery's going to be tied down better. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So once you got it hooked back up, it started right up, no problem. Even though
right up.
Yeah,
right up.
And did you notice too when the other guy fired up, his car was like running on like 2 cylinders?
I didn't notice anything, but his car was running and mine wasn't. That was the only thing I was thinking about.
Yeah. I tell you what, when your car did finally fire up, the stands went crazy. Like, they were so happy, like it was still going. Like you definitely had the support of the fans on your side in that demo.
Was there a most popular car vote?
I don't think they did ban one.
No, there wasn't.
They have done that in the past. That's
yeah. They always do best paint and favorite fan car and stuff like that, and they usually give out trophies for second or third. And I didn't notice that this time. It was pretty much winner take all on this demo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you were the winner. What was the take on the win, Cedar?
It was $1,500 cash in the trophy. Which I can't complain about that. It's going to pay for the next year.
Yeah, we used to do it for a lot less back in the day.
Yeah.
That's a great payday, man. That's really great.
Yeah.
All right, Cedar, we really appreciate you coming on, and we really hope you keep doing the demos at Wall. Do you know when the next demo is? The date?
I believe it's July 17th.
Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Cedar,
like
we really appreciate you coming on. Congratulations on your big win. Say hi to the family for us, and we'll talk to you after the next demo. Maybe the week before the next demo, we'll have you come on too to promote the demo.
That would be good. Fine by me.
All right, Cedar, thanks a lot, buddy.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, Cedar.
All right, have a good night.
Good night.
All right, guys, that was Cedar Scull. He was the winner of the 8-cylinder Demolition Derby. Josh, do they have results on Jeff Gravet's press release of the demo?
I don't recall. I'm going to bring it back up.
I know Cedar Scull won, and
No.
the Tom DeSantis guy was second, and I'm pretty sure Bubba Lane was third. He was there at the end too, right, Tim?
Yeah, he was one of the last cars left. Yeah, he was doing good.
All he has is the winner. So you have Steven Riggleman for the 4-cylinder and Cedar.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about our other cousin winning.
Yeah.
God, can I get away from some Rigglemans?
A lot of family racetrack Saturday. You had me and Nancy in the factory stocks. You had Alexis and Bailey running the Sunday Series flat track karts, and we had Cedar Scull, who is now married into the family, and we had Steven Riggleman, who's another cousin of ours. He actually won the 4-cylinder division, 4-cylinder demolition derby. Tim, I was actually loading my equipment up during that. How was the 4-cylinder demolition derby?
It went a little faster than they normally. Usually the 4-cylinders go for quite a while.
The 8s, right?
Yeah, because the computers keep those cars going. You know, when they get hot, they leave them themselves out or whatever they got to do to keep running. But all said and done, it was a couple good hard hits. And our cousin Steve Riggleman, he's got the worst luck. How many demos has he done? And he gets stuck on the pole, or car doesn't start once he's down there. Blah blah blah. And it was just like you said before with the other win. Like, we're watching him, and it gets down. There's about 5 cars left, and then there's 4 cars left, and he's still going. His car's not even smoking, steaming or anything, because he was smart. He used the back of the car, and next thing you know, it was down to him and some other guy. The other guy's car was hurt pretty bad, and Steven's car was still running strong. And
did you have any idea what kind of car Steven was in down there?
Yeah, 4-cylinder.
I did see a Mustang up top in the pits.
Yeah, an old style. Yeah, he didn't do.
That was a Fox body Mustang. It was pretty surprising to see one of them out there. All right, so Steven Riggleman was the winner of the 4-cylinder demolition derby.
Actually, I was going to say that's actually perfectly fitting. A Mustang that to go and hit something. I mean, you can't, it's perfect. It's like you don't even have to try; it just steers itself.
Josh, did you see that video on Facebook the other day of the guy in Mustang doing a bird out and he slams right into a telephone pole?
Oh, yep, I saw that and I happily shared it because another one.
All right, guys, so that was a great night with the demolition derbies. Demolition derbies definitely bring a different crowd in. The place was packed. I did walk through the grandstands, and there was a lot of faces that I've never saw there before. It brings in a different crowd.
Yeah.
And like Cedar said, he brought a couple of his friends there that had never been there before to watch him do a demolition derby. They seen him do it. They seen him win. And they're like, wow, that's really cool. Now, that's something we want to do. And that's how the sport grows, and that's how the sport keeps going. So I think it's really smart for the track to have family fun nights like that where it's only $10 to get in for the adults. They put on a little bit different show, but then they also have what they run on normal Saturday nights there. So maybe the people are like, oh, wow, we like the factory stocks and the Sportsmans and the TQs. We're going to come back on a regular Saturday. And that's how you keep it going,
Yeah, there was a couple sitting by me. They were older. They were probably in their 60s, maybe pushing 70s. And they weren't talking to me. They were talking to people next to them. That was the first time they've been at Wall Stadium in 27 years.
Wow.
They came because it was family fun night. It was $10, and they were tired of sitting in the house, and they told the people that they're probably going to come back. So,
I tell you what, I was really shocked by the crowd when I pulled down from our feature. Our feature was early, Josh. We were the first feature, and we were down there at 7:10 p.m., and it wasn't even dark out yet. And I looked in those grandstands. I'm like, wow, this place is packed, man.
You know why you started at 7:10 and not 7 o'clock?
Because there was a line of concession stands.
The concession stand line was from the concession stand, and the back of the line was at the back of the backrest for the first bleacher grandstand.
Yeah, wow. They even told us because they made us line up like 7:15, so we were all ready to go, and there was no motors running during the national anthem and all that stuff. And then they came back on, and they were like, apologize, you can get out of the car if you want, but it's going to be another 10 minutes. They got such a long line at the concession stand.
And that line was like that all night long.
That's such a good problem to have. I mean, as long as there's good food, which I love the food that Wall provides, and you have that many people, you have the line there, and then they cater to those people, saying, all right, we're gonna let we're gonna hold everything up so you can finish getting your food and get to your seats and not miss anything. I mean, like the track is handling that perfectly. And what's a 10-minute wait at that point?
Right.
that's a caution, you know.
Right.
So
and the night still got over early because normally, like we were talking when Mike Carr was on, I usually don't eat at the racetrack, but since there was events after my race, I had time to load up, and I had, by then I had no worries no more. My night was over, so I actually did get a thing of pierogies at the concession stands, and they were delicious. They were awesome. The pierogies were very good.
Yeah, the specials were they had sloppy Joe and they had corn dogs for fair night and family.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah, corn dogs at fair night. That's
a great idea.
And Emily was at the Sunday series, and she actually stopped and talked to me and Mom, and she said it was a great success, and they're gonna. As of yesterday, they were gonna plan on having 2 more of those this year.
What's that? Fair nights?
$10 night, family fun night.
$10 nights. Okay.
With how well it worked out crowd wise and everything, I mean, it's worth it. I think the track ultimately wins that, because the people are going to come back again.
Well, that's the whole thing. Say for an average, 10 new people come. If 2 of those people come back, it's a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First time.
And then word spreads. People talk about it. I know my friend was posting pictures of with her kid waving his little checkered flag.
Did they get those checker flags out, or were they selling them? I've seen a lot of kids with checker flags.
I did too, and we were one of the first ones through the gate. We had gotten there early because of the girls being there early, and they weren't giving them out when I walked through. So I don't know.
They either sold a lot of them or someone gave them out because I've.
Well, then again, you're paying $10 in. You have an extra $5.
Yeah, so now you'll buy a $5 souvenir or something like that. But yeah, Josh, I've seen so many kids waving those checker flags during the wave laps. And that's how I knew it was a different crowd too, because before our race could start, when we go to 1 to go, it's the wave lap. And it was the biggest response. I always wave to the fans. And on a normal Saturday night, a lot of people do wave back. But this time it seemed like the whole grandstands was waving back.
Wow.
Like it just seemed like there was a lot of new people there and they were excited to be at it. And it might be like how Cedar said, it was first time him ever being at a demo or doing a demo. There might have been families there. It was the first time they were ever at any type of motorsports event. You know what I'm saying? So to them, it was something new. It wasn't the movie theater. It wasn't a basketball game. It wasn't a football game. It wasn't sitting at the boardwalk. It was something totally new. It just seemed like, and it might be a COVID thing too. Like Tim said, people just wanted to be out of the house, and it was a beautiful night. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold.
The COVID thing is exactly.
Fans were really into it Saturday.
Yeah, the COVID thing is for as much as it sucked and it was a serious deal, and still is a serious deal. It's not over, but it's what local sports needed. Because people don't want to. They don't want to be inside watching a movie. They don't want to go to the movie theater. They want to be outside.
The other night, me and Nancy went to sit home and watch a movie. It's hard to find a good movie on that because the studios were all closed down. They weren't making movies because they didn't know when they were going to be able to put them out or be in the theater. So there's really no movies out right now either,
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of theaters that are still closed. But, I mean, to that point, a lot of people are looking to get out and do something new, something different. And I remember when it first hit, and Scott, you even said, like, this is going to kill local racing. But for the tracks that survived, I know it didn't, not every track survived. I'm aware, and that sucks. But for the ones that did, now is a good time to thrive.
It is. But you know what's going to happen soon, though? The concerts are going to start, and people are going to start going to concerts. That might help racing. But right now, we have the crowds,
Well, now's the time they got to capitalize on it. They got to do things like they've done the weekend before we didn't talk about because we didn't do a show, but they had the clean cover band on.
Yeah.
Which was good. My girls, their mom, Lisa, was really the queen, so they wanted to see that. They sang along, and I kind of felt bad because I don't know if everybody knows who Queen is, but a lot of their songs are like where the fans sing along with them, when they do all the
right.
All the crazy and all that crap like that. And the Wall Stadium crowd is just not like they're not into that kind of stuff.
So no one joined back and sang back to them?
No, not very many. So I kind of felt bad for the band for that reason, but at least they're trying. It was cool. It was something different.
Yeah, a little off topic, Tim. Do you think maybe by Emily having a show like that, like a Queen cover band on the front straightaway. Do you think she's maybe testing the waters to maybe she might have a concert there someday?
That would be. They used to. Who was it? Jethro Tull played there, didn't they? And the airplane was the Jefferson airplane,
right?
Yeah, I think. The Rolling Stones might even have played there or something. I remember a couple of different bands I've seen people post pictures.
Well, Tim, I didn't. I was getting my race car ready last week when the Queen tribute band was. But I could hear it in the pits, but I didn't see the performance. Do you think that would be someplace now that you've seen that small band down there? Do you think that'd be a place where you could enjoy watching a concert, even though like the catch fence is in the way and all that stuff?
Yeah, that does. Yeah. You could build a stage in the middle of the infield where it'd be higher than that. You know what I was thinking about, because I did watch a little videos, but if they ever did have like a regular concert there, with no racing or nothing, you can also invite like a couple like car clubs or truck clubs to fill up the infield with like cars as a backdrop,
Yeah.
And just like the band plays in front of them,
That or use the pits as another area for showing off cars and let people get, food and, wander.
I'm just saying, like, when you're in the grandstands and you're looking at that Queen band, like the infield's huge, and it made the band look small. You know what I'm saying? So to take up some of the space and as a backdrop, you can have like cars parked on the back straightaway or Jeeps or trucks or something like that. Like say if you have a country band, then you invite a couple truck clubs or 4-wheel drive Jeep clubs or something to park and give it the country atmosphere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I used to go to a lot of concerts back in the day. Wall Stadium was more comfortable than some of them, where you're packed into an old warehouse and you got to stand, the whole time.
I think it's a great idea, and I know that there's been issues with the township, I believe, but to not use that space with true stadium seating for concerts it's a waste to not use it.
I know.
Yeah. They used to play soccer and football in there.
Yeah.
That's why it's called a stadium and not a racetrack. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a stadium.
It's a velodrome.
I was just wondering by having that Queen band in there. I was like, man, I wonder if they're testing the waters here to see if they can hold a concert.
I would love to see that.
The system sounded great. You could hear the music great.
Yeah, and then honestly, any big touring act would probably come in with their whole stage and speaker setup.
Yeah,
anyway.
they would bring their own stuff, right?
I was going to say they would build a stage where you could see them over the fence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then on top of that, they'd have their own speaker or sound system on top of that. So as long as you give them
and they have those video
power.
screens behind them and all that stuff, they could fill up that space and put on a good light show and all that stuff,
Oh yeah, no,
I mean they do it at the Lakewood Blue Claws. I've seen bands. I went to a Def Leppard concert at Lakewood Blue Claws. John Mellencamp, Willie Nelson, and it's no different there. It's a stadium.
I don't know. I had Blue Oyster Cult and Foreigner and whatever. What was it, Wingstock or whatever years ago I went to.
Josh,
at Blue Claws, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to get going here. I mean, it's cool.
All right, let him finish, and then we'll move on. What was that, Tim?
I said, answer the door. Your 2020 is knocking, boy. Bunch of foreigner.
leave me my 70s and 80s alone. All right. Anyway, so all right, Scott.
All right, so we did the
demo. We did the demo and
Sportsman, we did both demolition derbies. So the first feature down the hill was the factory stock division. We had twin 25s for the night, and we had 19 cars compete in the first feature, and we're using our handicap system now. So that makes it a little tough on people like me and Elliot and Brian O'Shea, because now we're starting towards the back. I'm not a big fan of the handicap system. I always get punished by it, and I think it causes wrecks. I really do. I like what we do at the beginning of the year, where you draw for your position in your heat race. So it's kind of a luck of a draw thing, and then where you finish in your heat race is where you start in the feature. I like that, but I understand why they do it. They want the faster guys to start in the back. You only have 25 laps to get to the front, so you have to be aggressive in those 25 laps, and it makes it more exciting for the fans, but it makes it tough on the race cars themselves. I go into twin nights like that wanting to get through the first race, so I have a car to race in the second race. And usually my goal is, when I go into nights like that, is top fives and get out of there in one piece, because you can lose a lot of points on double race nights, and you can also gain some. So my goal on the night was 2 top 5s, and I was able to do it. I started 12th in the first feature and finished 4th, and I finished 9th in the second feature and finished 5th. Racing was pretty good. It was a little rough out there in the first race. A lot of beating and banging, 3 wide stuff. Like I said, we had 19 cars. Our sponsor, Nick Catone, he had a heartbreaker. Tim, did you watch the first factory stock race?
Yeah, he led the whole thing, and I don't know, towards the end of the race, I don't know. Me being, as a spotter watching the race, if I would have been talking to him, it looked to me like he was more worried about what was behind him than what was in front of him at the end of the race. Like 3 to 4 to go, because he was coming up. He wasn't hugging the bottom of the corner. He kept getting higher and higher in the corner. And then I think it was Tim O'Shea finally. It was enough. It was time, Brian O'Shea, it was time to go. You know what I mean? Right. And he was clearly in there. A lot of people in the grandstands were booing him. He took him out. Now he was clearly in there. And I give Nick Catone all the credit, man. He's like, this is my win. I'm either going to wreck it or I'm going to win this. And he come down on him, and the O'Shea kid didn't spin him out, but didn't give him any room. You know what I mean? And they end up
then Elliott snuck by for the win. He was like 4th going in that corner, and I was like 6th or 7th going in that corner, and I was able to get down in the infield and just miss the wrecking.
Yeah.
And make it across the line 4th. But yeah, it was a heartbreaker for Nick Catone. We talk about him all the time on here. He's working very hard to get his first win. For some reason, I did get word during last week that he has switched over to the 602 crate engine now too. He's had it now for a couple of weeks. So he's one of the guys with the 602 crate engine now. Josh, like my brother said, he led almost the whole race. Coming to the checker flag between 3 and 4, he literally had 200 feet to go for his first win. Doesn't happen. Gets spun out.
I know he listens to the show and everything. He does. He's out there racing like he's been doing it 10 years. I don't think he even knew what Wall Stadium was 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right, but
he's doing an awesome job.
So, but
I even saw him after that race, and he was heartbroken. And I said, Nick, listen, I know it's heartbreaking. Auto racing's a tough sport. I know you come from MMA, which is a very tough sport, but there's way more lows in racing than highs. I said, Nick, just be patient. You're gonna get a win, even though you lost this race. With the handicap system, you're going to be right back up there. Don't lose your cool. Just keep doing what you're doing. The win will come. It took me 8 years to win my first race. It's tough to do. And then once you finally win, then you really know you can do it.
You got to lose them. You got to lose them like that before you win them like that.
Yeah, you got to lose a bunch before you win them. But it was heartbreaking.
I just think if I would have been spotting for him, I would have said, worry about what's in front of you, not what's behind you. I think.
You think he got too worried, looking in the mirror too much, and he was missing the corners.
Yeah.
And
some people told me Brian was down on the infield and came up into him, but I'm like, no, because then Dave Michael would have sent O'Shea to the back at the end of the race.
He was clearly there. Like I said,
I watched the video. It looked like Brian was pretty far in there, and it was just they were fighting for a win. It's the last lap. That's when contact happens.
It's that fine racing for real estate, and if they reckon it was a racing deal incident, it's one of them deals. Nick Catone did what he had to do, and the O'Shea kid did what he had to do.
Yeah, it's the last lap. No whole bars then, And
then here comes Elliott down his back straightaway thinking about the hot dog joint and Hal Lanes, and all of a sudden it opens up.
Me too. Tim, same with me. I'm like, oh man, well, I got 6th or 7th, and next thing I know, they're spinning up the track, and other cars are going up, and I slowed down, and I got hit from behind, and I almost spun out, but it actually knocked me into the infield. And I floored it and took off. I'm like, oh wow, I finished 4th, so that kind of made my day better,
All right, so let's be real. Elliott was thinking about the hot dog place from the beginning, just like Eric Brennan. Brian was in 2nd and was getting in there on Catone. So, but now I'm looking at results. Just going off of that, Brian went from 2nd to 6th. So
if he still finished 6th, yes.
So
the yellow didn't come out. They let him finish.
The yellow didn't come out, Josh. We all soldiered on to the win, so Brian was able to get through that and keep going.
But what I'm getting at is, Brian may have had position, but if he gave him room, would he have had a better finish? And
he would have finished. Yeah. And
you would have got 2nd instead of 6th. I see what you're saying, but he was going for the win.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. I mean, that's part of racing. But sometimes I've been in that position where. Do I wreck or do I give up? And
that's what I was trying to. I agree 100% what you're saying. That's what I was trying to say. He was in there enough that he was in there, but he probably should have lifted and finished second. He wasn't into the door. He was like center wheel quarter pedal type thing.
No, he didn't do anything wrong, but had he done something different, he himself might have had a better finish, and
yes.
So would Catone.
Yeah, but I mean, Brian's a true racer. At that moment, he's just seen checkered flags.
We've all been there. We've all had that moment of you're going to go for it and push, and that's fine. He didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying, it's like, oh man, it's in hindsight, would it have been better?
That first race was great. It was to watch like Elliott. Elliott is, I don't know, he's so good in traffic. He just gets through the traffic so good, and then Scott gets through there real good. And Chucky was AJ. He was good Saturday. He was getting to the track looked more racy this Saturday than it did last week. Was the track better, Scott?
My car was actually my car was fast Saturday. If the cooler temperatures do help, but I was actually faster during the day on old tires. I put stickers on and actually got a little loose.
Did they put the sticky stuff down?
I don't think they do on nights like that, Josh. I think that's mainly for the modified races. So I don't think the sticky stuff was down Saturday night.
Okay. Well, I mean, you still have the Sportsman, so I wasn't sure if.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been down. I tell you the truth, I really can't tell the difference.
Okay.
I really can't. All right, Josh, this is what the top 10 of the factory stock race.
I guess Uncle Joe did a good Saturday too.
Yeah,
he was running good Saturday.
And there again, the handicap system helps him a little bit because he had some poorer finishes in the beginning of the year, so he starts in front of like guys like me and Elliott and Brian O'Shea. So there, he probably likes the handicap system, Yeah. But now he's got a few finishes. Now I might be starting in front of him. It does even out, but it's one of those things we got to deal with up here in the Northeast.
Right. All right, so Elliott Wall gets the win, followed by Joe Monjo, AJ Jadecki, Scott Riggleman, Brian DeSarno, Brian O'Shea, Johnny Carpenter, Doug Ashford, Matt Podesta, and Tom Rutgowski. Is your top
I also want to congratulate Matt Podesta. A lot of people were patting me on the back for getting Nancy's car fixed after last week because it was wrecked real bad.
Oh, yeah.
No,
he
and Matt Podesta's car. His car was damaged really bad, and for he's a one-man band. He comes to the racetrack by himself. And he doesn't have crew help and doesn't have a big crew. And for him to get that car fixed and repaired, I was actually shocked to see him back within a week. And I did talk to him. He said both horns were pushed over. It was a lot of work, but it just shows he's a dedicated racer, and he did make it back.
And that was him and Tony Bartone were involved.
Yeah, Tony didn't come back. No, yeah. Nancy got a lot of damage in that wreck. Matt Podesta got a lot of damage, and Tony Bartone got a lot of damage in that wreck. And for Matt to make it back in a week, I know he did just as much work as I did or more to get back in time. And I really had a feeling he wasn't going to be back this week as bad as that car was wrecked in the previous week. And for him to come back, it was pretty amazing.
Nancy ran real well too. She did good.
Yeah, that car ran good. I took her car out in practice, and I was, when I'm in her car, I'm 100 pounds overweight, and the seat's so far up, so I'm jammed up against the wheel. And we had 200 lap tires on that car, and I did a 16-1 with it. That car was running good.
Wow, nice.
Sometimes you got to wreck them, and they run better, Josh. Show who's balls every once in a while.
See, Josh wrecks him and never races him again.
No,
Rich Modge always said that. Rich Modge always told me that. He's like, you wreck them and they come back faster. I said, yeah, Rich, because you actually had to work on them and you check everything on them. So now your toe's right and everything's right because you actually had to work on them. You know what I'm saying? That's why they come back better. But Rich Modge is a big fan of, go ahead and wreck it. It'll be faster. Don't worry about it.
If you've ever gotten the chance to drive Orange Crush, that car has gotten bent in the right way many times.
Well, I so excited about that 7X you got. I think, don't touch it
the right way.
I mean,
all right, so that was the factory stock race. We did the Sportsman race already. The TQ midgets were there also, right, Tim?
Yeah, I don't even remember. Yeah, they were there. I think they were there.
Josh, you have the results.
I have 0 results. Yeah.
What was the 4th division then?
We had the legend cars were there.
Really?
Yeah, the legends were there. That's what I have.
All right, we'll go with that.
Okay.
I don't think they were there. Oh yeah, they were there because Quinn Trimmer and them were there. Yeah,
that's right. All right, so the Legend Cars, Mason McGee gets the win, followed by Quinn Trimmer, Brian Gardella, Colin Milroy, Joseph Parker, Malcolm Campbell, Leanne Sherry, Matt Verlangeri, and Jeff Stevens. That's your top 9, really. Apparently, they tied for 8th place.
Quinn Trimmer, he's getting really good. He's pretty much having a breakout year. He's new to racing. He's definitely having a good year. I did talk to his father quite a bit. Maybe we'll have Quinn Trimmer on the show one week. He's having a breakout season. I know he's up there in the points and everything like that, and he got his first feature win this year with the Legend car. And the reason I thought the Legend cars weren't there is because I seen Joe McGrath walking around. He was there without a car, but he came later. He might have had to work late. He's a Bricktown Ship Police officer, and he was up there in the points, and his car wasn't there, so that's why I thought the Legend cars weren't there. But then I remember seeing Quinn Trimmer there and Intech and stuff like that.
Okay.
The kid that won from Massachusetts.
Yeah, Mason McGee, right? He comes down from Mass.
We should have him on. He's quite a personality, that kid. Yeah.
Oh, really? Was he exciting in Victory Lane?
Yeah, he's exciting in Victory Lane. Yeah, he's very loud spoken. He's nothing major, nasty or nothing, but he's a ball of fire. I'll say that much.
Okay, all right, I'm good with that. All right,
so that brings us to the second.
You got to remember, he's coming from Massachusetts. When I traveled with the Modified Tour, that's a lot of work. Scott, you do that, week in and week out. For him to come down from Massachusetts every week to race Wall Stadium, that's saying something. I
wonder why he does that. I mean, maybe he just fell in love with the high banks of Wall Stadium.
Jeff Gravatt asked him, and one of his other wins, he said the track that he was at, he wasn't challenged there anymore, and he'd come to Wall Stadium, and he fell in love with the challenge of the track, and they just like racing there.
Yeah, sometimes you find the track and you like it. Like, of course, Nancy's favorite track has to be 6 hours from home. She loves racing at Hudson, New Hampshire. It's just a track she feels really comfortable on and runs well on, so we go up there,
Yeah, the track that you flip over at, she's comfortable at.
Yeah, right. So that moves us to the second 25-lap main event for the factory stocks. What they did was they treated the first feature like a heat race, where our heat races, we had 19 cars, so they had 3 heat races, but you had to finish in the top 4 in each heat race to get your 12 handicap qualified cars.
Right.
Of course, you still qualify for the race, but if you want to be in the handicap, somewhere in the top 12, you had to finish in the top 4 of each race. And if you didn't finish in the top 4, then you fall in line from 12th back to 19th. So what they did in the first feature, they treated it like one big heat race. They took the top 12, and that they were the handicap cars. So I finished 4th in the first feature, and I started 9th in the second feature.
Now, was that first feature, was that a rain out, or was that a scheduled race?
No, it was a plan. That was a planned 25 lap night for us.
Because you still have a rain out to make out, don't you?
No, we're all even.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the 4-cylinders. The 4-cylinders actually made that race up already.
Yeah.
Now we're good. We're right where we need to be. It was another 25 lap event. Tim, did that race go caution free? Because I know from the car, that race was over quick. I was battling with that 3 car, and I was kind of taking it easy with him. And I finally get by him, and next thing I know, I look up, and it's only 2 to go. I'm like, man, this race flew by,
Yeah, I think there might have been a caution early, but other than that, I think he went green the whole way.
Yeah, Tim, as a fan in the stands, we talk about it, us factory stock guys talk about it. I know we're not getting big fields like we normally get when we get 19 to 21 cars in that area. We're kind of fighting for more laps. We kind of want them to be 30 lappers. Do you think 25 laps?
Well, yeah, I agree because, like cautions, precautions. And I said it before. People say, oh, if you have 10 good cars, you're going to go green flag. If you got 10 good cars and 5 guys that are out there that are mediocre, you're going to have 1 or 2 more cautions. If you got 25 cars out there, 10 good, 3 mediocre, and 12 guys that just started, obviously there's going to be more cautions. So you guys get bunched up more, and it gives you a better chance, to gain track position. If you're out there and you go green, you never get that track position back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you would need more laps,
right,
for that.
And that's a tough thing at Wall. Like I'm surprised people get as many wins as, like, say, I have or the Majos have, because it's tough, man. It's so tough with that handicap system. I'm starting 14th, 15th, and we only have 25 laps, and the cars in front of me are fast. It's very tough to win over there with the handicap system. So a way of evening that out to help a guy like us would give us 5 more laps.
As popular as the fact, I don't want to say the modifieds aren't. The modifieds are the modifieds, and there's people that come there just for the modifieds. But I think 3/4 of the place, if you guys run last on a night, 3/4 of the crowd stays. So that's saying that at least 3/4 of the crowd are there for the factory stock. So I don't think anybody in the grandstands would have any problem giving you guys 5 more laps. You know what I mean?
All right. So the winner of the second factory stock race was AJ Jadacki. It was a very popular win. His father, Chucky, has been around that racetrack for a long time. Raced street stocks back with me in the early 90s with a very similar looking paint scheme, the red and black number 41. That's pretty much their family colors, and they've been flying those colors for a very long time. AJ is, of course, Chucky's son. AJ's been around the racetrack since he was a kid, watching his father race. He's done the go-karts. He's done the Sunday series. He's raced everything, and now he's moving into the big cars, and him and his father built this car together. It's a beautiful race car. It was fast right from the beginning of the year, and we all even told AJ, with the handicap system and as good as he's been running, tonight was his night, and we really thought he was going to win the first race, and he wasn't able to win the first race, but he was able to win the second race, and he did a great job. He ran a great race. He was very emotional in victory lane. It must have been big for him to be standing in front of that big crowd, like we were talking with Cedar, Scull, and Mike Carr. He won on a perfect night where the place is packed at a track he grew up as his kid. I think his father only has like 1 or 2 wins there, so now it's a father-son with wins at the same racetrack in the same paint scheme car. I thought it was really cool for AJ to get the win. Tim, do you remember anything from AJ's victory lane speech?
He was really thankful to his dad, and AJ's a very emotional kid. Me and AJ are very close.
We call him a kid, but he's married. He's an older guy now, but we still call him a kid.
Yeah, I still call him Chucky because he looks. When he was little, he looked just like his dad, and he comes over. He comes over here like once a month, and he gets depressed. I'm like, dude, you'll win. You're gonna win. Your kid's coming. The twins absolutely adore AJ. AJ used to sleep at our house with the twins back in the day when they were little. So he was emotional for me and the girls. They were all happy. Like you said, it's hard to win out there, and he finally got one. And now we'll see if he can continue. He's definitely gotten a lot better. His car was fast. There's no doubt about it.
He's actually fun to race with. I enjoy racing with AJ. Like, he gives you room, and
I literally talked to him 10 minutes before we were online, and he said I told him we were getting ready to do the podcast. He said he just wanted to thank his dad and all his fans and his wife. His wife puts up on a lot with AJ, and he said he was thankful for the win, and
she works there too, right? AJ's wife works in the concession stands.
Yeah, she's all in. She works there and everything else, and he just wanted to thank all the fans. And he said it was overwhelming when he got out of the car and just heard everybody cheer. That's what made him sad, or happy, or crying, or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Josh, this is what the top 10 for the second 25-lap factory stock feature, please.
All right, AJ Jadacki in first, Elliott Wall in second, followed by Brian O'Shea, Carpenter, Riggleman, Munch, Ashford, Monjo, Rushkowski, and DeSarno for your top 10.
I just want to mention, too, that Nancy was able to finish 12th and 14th in the 2 races. I mean,
she did well.
Yeah, after coming back, sometimes you never know what kind of driver you're going to get after they have their first bad wreck, And we actually, Saturday she wrecked, we actually loaded our cars up, I came home that night, switched the cars, I put my Enduro cars on the trailer, put the wall cars back in the garage at like midnight. We woke up at like 1:30. I went to bed at like 1 in the morning. We got up at 3:30 in the morning. We left our house at 4 a.m. We drove all the way up to Hudson Speedway, and she ran well up there too. She finished 4th in this. They call it the Spitfire division. It's a ladies only division, and there's probably close to 20 cars in that. And she finished 4th right after a night of a bad wreck, and then I ran her in the Pro V8 cars with me and all the guys in souped up cars. And she finished 10th in that, and we had 15 or 16 cars in that. So for her to get right back on the horse after a bad wreck was pretty good. And I was pretty amazed by her wanting to do it. And the car did run good. It actually ran a little bit better than before she wrecked it. So yeah, we going into this week, we have a 25 lapper with the factory stocks this week, and then we're off for 2 weeks. We're off for June 26th weekend, and then I guess the track's closed on 4th of July, Tim, or just the.
They were announcing it was closed for something. Yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah,
4th of July.
I think they're all 4th of July weekend. So we'll talk more about that when it gets closer.
I think that's kind of normal.
We talked about it earlier in the year. They made an announcement that they were moving some of the Sunday Series racing to Saturday night. So this is the first night that they did that. Tim, I think they had 2 divisions there. They had your daughter's divisions there.
Apparently, what they're going to do is alternate 2 divisions every Saturday night from now on. They're not points races; they're just expedition races.
Right.
Because the girls had a race Saturday night, and then they raced again Sunday. So they're just for. They're just for fun.
What you guys are the Sportsmen?
Sportsman, yeah, the Sportsman. It goes by the color of the slide. I think the last time we changed, I think we're reds.
I think they call them blue plates.
Oh, they're blue. Then they're blue. They're not. They're not plates anymore. They're slides.
Slides. Okay. And then the other division was there were the micro stocks. Tim, is that what they're called?
Yeah, that's the one that our buddy drives in there.
Robin and Tom Irvin, they have cars in that division.
I wanted to mention that I felt so happy. That guy's got like 450,000 wins, and nobody ever gets to see him because nobody goes to the Sunday Series,
Right.
If anybody out of all those races deserved to win in front of a packed house, it was that guy. Yeah.
So we got to eat a little crow here, Tim, because we were a little negative about them moving the Sunday Series to Saturday nights, and it actually went really well. I mean, it really didn't take up any time. They did it pretty much at intermission.
I think the best part about that, they decided to park them where they did instead of way in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they did talk about parking them way out by the pit gate, but they had Tim's kids parked up by the concession stands. They used these barriers to put them around them because they're underage and they're not allowed in the hot pits. So they made like a little spot for them, and it worked out good. Me and Aunt Nancy just helped Lisa push the carts over there. And they did make a little area for the micro stocks too. They parked them mainly where like Dick Barney and the modified guys parked behind the one set of grandstands over there where the ambulances park. And they had a nice little area set up for them. I think it went really smooth. And like you said, Tim, it gave the girls a chance to race in front of a Saturday night crowd. And it gave the guys like Tom Irvin a chance to race in front of a large crowd too. I think it went very well. It was something that I didn't think was going to work over the winter, and I just want to admit that we were wrong. I think it is a good idea, and I think it will work. I did notice that the Sunday Series does have a lot more races on Sunday, too, so they're getting a little bit of the best of both worlds now. It worked out well for me Saturday night, them being there, because I got to see my niece's race, and it was during a downtime where I didn't have much to do on my car, so I did have time to go over there and give them a hand and talk to them before and after the race, and I actually got to sat and watched them race, which was enjoyable for me. Kevin Davison's son was able to win that race. Alexis Riggleman finished second in that race, and Bailey Riggleman was third in the Sportsman race. Tim said Tom Irvin did win the micro stock race. They had quite a few of those cars out there, Tom. The other girl I knew that was in that race was Ashley Tyler that used to race factory stocks, Josh. She races one of the Tom Irvin's cars. It's the 99E. So there's some familiar faces over there too. It was cool. I think the people in the grandstands liked them too, because that's a division where a regular person in the grandstands would be like, "Oh wow, those little things are cool. I can race one of them." So it might help grow that division as well too.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a great idea.
Alexis and Bailey acted like they just raced at the Daytona 500. They were so happy to race in front of all those people, and I think they got more kick out of being able to walk through the grandstands with their fire suits on than they were. Yeah. So they were happy.
Yeah, because you said at first they were a little timid and they weren't sure if they wanted to race in front of the crowd. They'd rather just go watch the races. I was glad that they changed their mind and got the race.
Yeah, that's over with now. Then they would race every Saturday night if they could. So,
Josh, on a personal note, my brother always calls me a cheap ass, and he says I'm tight on $1. Well, I was over there helping my nieces on these go-karts, and I asked them when's the last time they put tires on. They said our tires are about 2 years old, so I think my brother needs to loosen up on his wallet a little bit, put some tires on his kids' karts.
That might help.
If I had a wallet, I would open it.
Hey, I do want to say something about Tom Irvin, the micro stock that won. It did have an RPM podcast sticker on it. So maybe the RPM podcast isn't such a curse, Josh.
Occasionally we're not.
I know, Josh. I know you want to do the quarter midgets results, but it's just getting too late.
With that said, anybody wants to buy tires for the Twins, I'm open for sponsorship. So,
do you know how much a set of tires for those cars are?
They're $48 a piece.
Was that with rim or without rim?
That's without rim. I checked today. All right, it's been 2 years since I buy tires. The place that we get our tires from is a place in Florida called TS Supply or something like that. I go on there today. A big red screen comes up and says, "Due to the storm last night, we are not in We are not in operation today. No sales or service." So I went on their So now you go on their website. And I click on tires. It's not the website's not working. But I Googled it and it came up on Google, and it's $48. In the picture, it's not with the rim. They do sell them with rims, and they suggest that when you buy new tires, the rims are basically disposable. So I'm not sure. I got to look into it tomorrow. Hopefully the website will be up tomorrow.
Okay. So what I'm going to do for the quarter midget guys, since we're running short on time, or running long on time, really, I'm going to try to share those results on our Facebook page. And we do want to get them back in the loop of our stuff. We just had a lot to make up for. We didn't even get to really anything. Like I wanted to talk a little bit about the Lemons race at Millville, and we just are out of time, unfortunately.
I wanted to talk about the SRX race at Stafford.
Yeah,
we can touch base on it real quick if you want. Go ahead, Tim. You want to talk about it? Talk about it.
It happened.
I thought. It happened full of
house. It was packed there too. I was really surprised by the huge crowd there.
Standing room only. Doug Kobe's a hell of a wheel man. He proved that again this weekend. The only thing, little trickery of CBS Sports is they promoted Doug as a hometown hero at Stafford, which he is, sort of quarter midget racing and all that up there. But what they didn't tell you is that he's 6-time National Modified Tour champion. They didn't really.
Tim, I noticed a little bit they didn't talk much about NASCAR at all. It's almost like they're worried about getting sued or something like that. So it seems like the less they mention NASCAR, the better off they are.
Yeah, but like Doug Kobe said in the interview, he goes, "Here I am, and I'm out here, and I just beat the guy that won the Daytona, the Indy 500 2 weeks ago." So how cool is that? And to see, I thought, what do you call it? Your boy Marco Andretti drove his ass off. See that? He come from he was way in the back. He came up to lead.
Wow.
He always drives his ass off. He just never finishes good. Josh, pull up the results while we're talking about this. SRX.
Your boy Greg Biffle drove his ass off.
He's a driver. I'm telling you, he's a driver.
How cool was that to see these guys wheeling on a track that I used to go to, 7-8 times a year? It was
actually
good.
Interviewed Greg Biffle after the race, and he said he's interested in going back there and running an SK car.
They announced today. There was an article today that him and Michael Waltrip were going to go back and run SK cars there.
Yeah.
Michael Waltrip liked it so much, too, and he wants to go back. Now, Michael's been there before. Tony Stewart.
Did Doug Kobe fall out of his car in Victory Lane?
Yes, I did. I saw that.
What happened? Did he trip on the door or something?
Yeah, I guess they got that door that opens.
Right.
Like Felix is modified. I think when he got up, it wasn't latched. So when he got up, it opened up and put him on his ass.
Oh. That'd be my luck. You win the biggest race of your career, in front of the biggest TV audience of your life, and you fall on your butt.
And when he stood up, he was hurt. He wasn't tired. Yeah. He was Doug's a good guy, though. I'm happy for Doug.
I ended up liking the SRX. My brother did send it to me and Josh in the messenger. I guess it's on YouTube if you did not see it on CBS on Saturday night. The only complaint I have, Josh, and how do you feel about this? I don't understand why they have it on Saturday night. We're all after races.
They have it like a Thursday night,
Thursday night Thunder or Wednesday night.
Honestly, even a Sunday, just to
Well, you got cup racing on Sunday and stuff like that. I think a Wednesday night would be perfect. A guy like me or you, Josh, or my brother, we're home. We're starving for some racing because now it's been 3 or 4 days since we've been at the racetrack. A guy like me is going to be out of my race shop working on the race car. And say if the SRX race comes on at 7 o'clock, I mean, that's a perfect night for me to be in the garage working on my race car. I'm like, all right, I'll change the oil and stuff in my race car, and I'll watch the SRX race on a Wednesday night.
As long as they don't have to deal with the noise curfew at the tracks they go to.
Yeah, I think it came down to the tracks wanting them on Saturday nights because when it first came out, I remember they said it was going to be a midweek show, and it's just not. But I think it was a big success. I think it's even better than Everham thought it was going to be. And they only have 6 races this year. I think it's going to grow next year, Tim. I think they're going to be up to 10 or 11 races next year.
I just hope that places like Stafford, Wall, whatever, anybody's home track is listening. They need that big nut like Wall Stadium has Turkey Derby.
Right. Yeah.
It helps save the track. I just hope that they don't sell out every single track and say, well, now we need to go to Richmond.
Yeah, they need to keep it at the short tracks. Yeah. They'll be like, all right, now we need to go to Richmond and Dover and stuff like that.
Keep it to where you sell out the small track and everybody else watches it on TV. It's a win-win situation. It's like it's not if you don't get a ticket, you're not going to be able to sit.
They flat out said if it gets too strung out, we're throwing a yellow flag and a bunch of them back. They didn't even sugarcoat it or nothing and said there's debris in the truck. They're like, nope, race is getting boring. Throw the yellow.
And no spotters, Josh. Did you see that? No spotters.
I'm okay with that. They got mirrors. They'll be fine.
And the fans and the cars held up. And Michael Waltrip backed that car to the fence. It wasn't all that terrible.
You know what? When those cars first came out, I didn't really like the appearance of them, but they look really cool out on the racetrack. It was something a little bit different than you see on a normal Saturday night, and I liked it. I don't know,
Scott. You were a doubter, and now you're a fan.
Yeah, no, I am. I am a fan. I did like it. The racing wasn't that great, though. It really wasn't. It did get spread out a little bit, but they would bunch them back up, and then they would race hard again. Another thing we always talk about, Josh, there's only 12 or 13 cars out there. Maybe if you had 20 cars, but I know that'd be tough for that team to get 20 cars to the track. That was the only downside of watching it. There wasn't that many cars on the track.
It would be nicer to have a few more and to keep them together, but.
Maybe when more sponsors come along, you know what I mean?
Again, this is number one. This is the first one.
Yeah, they have room to grow. But you don't want to grow it too much, too, where it gets boring, too. Like maybe they want to keep it around 6 or 10 races and keep wanting for more.
I saw the same coverage that you saw. I didn't see the heat races. I don't know how they went, if they were exciting or not. I was hoping my boy Willie T. Rims would do a little better than he did, but I never really heard much about him out there.
I like that racing the tracks at Stafford because they made the track look professional, Tim. They painted a lot of stuff. They painted logos in the infield like they do at the Cup races and stuff like that. I think it was a nice, clean appearance, a nice, clean look on the asphalt. I don't know if I'm going to like him on dirt as much.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a dirt thing. But then again, at Stafford, you got to remember that's the Root family. They're all in. They're all, the one of Root.
Professional and nice looking on TV. I like the pavement tracks. I don't know. Now we're going to see. Now they go to a dirt track. We'll see how it crosses over to dirt.
It needs to be everything, and dirt, asphalt, and road course is what would make it fair across.
Yeah, how cool. People were saying they should bring that race to Wall Stadium. How cool would it be if they took it to where you go in South Jersey down there, to the Motorsports Park in South Jersey.
Millville? Yeah, no, I mean it would be cool. Try it. I mean, they're different disciplines. And
they got a road course at Englishtown. How cool would it be if they went to Englishtown and did it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, you got everything. The only thing you're going to miss is a rally cross.
All right, guys.
The cars didn't blow up. You know what I mean?
No, it's very impressive. They were durable.
They never changed the tire. What else could you ask for? You put fuel in them, and they're like go-kart racing for those guys.
I tell you what, it's almost like I wish they'd put a price tag on them like they do legend cars, like, if they're $30,000 or $40,000 and start like a series where a guy like,
rent a ride,
just go there, buy them and go race them. You know what I'm saying? They seem like a perfect built race car, like a spec type race car,
You're not even buying, you lease them for the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm just saying if they started a whole division with them, like the legend cars, where
yeah, they might.
They seem like a pretty cool car. I know they're built out of Fury shop. I know the Uri family has a lot to do with them. No, they were definitely cool race cars.
See the pace car, like an old coupe.
Yeah, with all fancy lights on and stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Everyham's got some good ideas, And I did read Facebook posts from like normal people that were there, and they seemed to all enjoy the event and everything like that. And I knew it was going to be big because a couple of days leading up to the race, people were on Facebook looking for tickets. Like the tickets were sold out.
Yeah, there were people there the day of when I left to go to Wall Stadium. Were still looking for tickets.
Anybody have a ticket? We want to go to Stafford. Anybody got SRX tickets? So he's got something. Now you just got to keep it going,
And then
Josh, it's a tough balance because me and Tim watched this when we were kids. They would have a monster truck show at Wall Stadium. It'd be packed. People would be trying to get in. Then they said, well, we'll go to 2 monster trucks.
And
then all of a sudden it's spread out. Yeah.
Well, 2 was okay. Then they went to 3, and then nobody went to any of them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a tough balance you got to do.
You got to hit it just right, and
right.
That's why I think maybe 12 races a year, so a little more than what they got planned. But I always
like a number like 12 because you can call it like the 12 pack or something like that, or
yeah,
or 10, you call it like the perfect 10,
It's easy for us to sit here and debate that, but you got to remember that's 12 to 15 superstars that you got to be able. It takes us 2 weeks for us 3 to sit down here for an hour. Could you imagine the logistics?
Yeah, it's tough.
Getting all those
plus, it's obvious he wants to do it in the summer months when the kids aren't in school. It's CBS is looking at it like a TV show, and these TV shows seasons are getting shorter and shorter. I mean, some of these shows I watch like a full season's like 8 episodes. Like,
yeah,
it's not like back in the day,
Yeah,
Michael Walter probably has to have a special camper just for his hairpiece to be flown in,
A couple things I want to talk about. We haven't done what do we used to call it, Josh? The reviews and recommendations.
Yeah.
Do you have the SRX results, Josh?
Yeah. I can do that.
Go ahead, read them off, and we'll finish up with the SRX, and then we'll move.
Yeah,
to the
sure.
next one.
So Doug Kobe gets the win, followed by Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, Elio Castro Neves, Bobby Labonte, Ernie Francis Jr., Tony Kanaan, Willie T. Ribbs, Paul Tracy, Marco Andretti, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott.
All right.
How can you not be happy with that field of cars?
No, it was definitely cool. The next one, I think they're going to Knoxville next or something like that. Like they literally had to load up and pack up at Stafford and head to Knoxville. All right, so we'll be keeping an eye on the SRX
instead of a horn or whatever. Do they have something else that they do when Bill Elliott finishes last?
Tim, we know our friend Jamie Tomino Jr. He's working with the SRX. Maybe we can have him on the show one day, and he can talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes stuff with the SRX series.
Yeah, I can work on that. No problem.
Yeah. All right. One thing we're getting ready to call it a show, but I just want to. We haven't did reviews and recommendations lately, and I did watch something really super cool and pretty emotional on YouTube the other day. I think I found it on Stafford's Facebook page. They did it like a 2.5-hour documentary on Teddy Christopher, the life and times of Teddy Christopher. Tim, did you get a chance to watch that yet?
Yeah, I have some pros and cons I can put into that. Yeah, good.
I enjoyed it. It was a tearjerker. They interviewed his wife, his twin brother, his nephew that's racing now is pretty much the kid that Teddy was going to help when he stopped racing. They were going to put all the effort behind him. Unfortunately, Teddy passed away before that happened. They really didn't sugarcoat it either. They talked the good and bad about Teddy. They even showed pretty much when Rowan Pennick knocked Teddy on his ass in Victory Lane and stuff like that. It was good. They even talked about the plane crash himself, and they're not 100% sure what happened, but they do think it was a fuel rag in the fuel system that clogged the fuel system and made the plane go down. Josh, it's definitely something you might want to check out. Mm-hmm. Teddy was a special person. He died at 58 years old, but he put a lot of life into it. I was amazed how successful he was off the track. I know, Tim, you knew he owned that big transmission shop. He was pretty much an Allison transmission guru. He worked very, very hard. He was kind of like Jimmy Blue.
Number one in the nation, I believe.
Yeah, he was a neat freak. So as hard as he worked at racing,
you couldn't. Yeah, much of a neat freak he is. Not to interrupt you. If you had a coffee cup and it had coffee in it, he would make you dump the coffee into the sink, wash the coffee cup before you put it in the garbage.
Oh, he wouldn't leave it laying around and drink it.
You would? No. You didn't leave anything laying around. I'm talking about if you walked into a shop,
right?
You had like a cold cup of coffee, you just wanted to throw it away.
Right. Yeah, he didn't want the coffee laying in the garbage.
That's been in the truck since the Tappan Zee Bridge. You just want to throw it away. You had to rinse the coffee cup out in the sink to put it in the garbage.
Right. They said he was a total neat freak. I tell you what, I was really impressed. It's a shame because you really didn't get to see it 100% finished. But the house he was building on property he had up there was absolutely beautiful. And the Christopher family, Teddy's wife still lives there, and the Christopher family has been spending every Christmas there since Teddy passed away. And it's a big family gathering that they have the Christmases at Teddy's house. He lived a pretty amazing life. And they did talk about he did have an opportunity to go down south and race for Richard Childress Racing in the 21 Xfinity car. And it came down to the final straw was the reason he didn't do it is because they couldn't guarantee him that he would make every Friday night race at Stafford. And he would rather race every Friday night at Stafford than run that car.
Huh.
So it was really good. It's on YouTube. You can just Google Teddy Christopher on Stafford's. I really enjoyed it. Tim, what did you think about it?
I think first of all, Teddy Christopher cost me as a spotter probably more tour wins than I've had between John. He took John out a couple times and vice versa. He flat out took Eric Rudolph out twice. Teddy on the track was Teddy on the track, but Teddy off the track, he was such a I might even start crying. We would sit in Waddell's trailer and just talk and laugh.
Waddell's on that show. He talked quite a bit.
You know how those guys were in the garage and they were just talking?
Yeah.
That's the way Teddy was. He'd come in and he was just such a great guy off the racetrack, and he didn't much care for Jimmy when Jimmy first came. And I was going with John. He'd be like, "Hey, where's your fat-headed little brother Jimmy at? Yeah, he wrecked me last week." Stuff like that. And then when the twins were born, he'd ask me every weekend when the twins were born, how are they doing? When are they going to start racing? When they started racing, he wanted to see the go-karts. He said, I got to get up there. I want to see him race. He was just such a great guy. And like you said, the house, at the end of the, let's face it, Teddy was getting, I don't want to say he was on the end of his career, but it was starting to slow down a little bit. You know what I mean? He wasn't winning like
he definitely said he was ready to cut back and help.
Yeah, he was vocal. He was to the point in his life where he wanted to build this house. That's all he talked about was that house and Michael. That's all he talked about. That stuff was all accurate. The only thing I really didn't much care for the show was they more focused on, it was too much of a focus on how great he was at Stafford. He was great everywhere he went. It kind of did.
They did talk about a little bit about his win at Loudon when he finished first and his brother finished second.
Yeah, but other than that,
the country.
Yeah, other than that, they didn't talk too much about. They did talk about the indoor race a little bit, but
they did talk about it a little bit at New Smyrna, but they just touched base on it. But then again, I think it was a Stafford Speedway production because, like I said,
it was. But to see how emotional Waddell got, they were good times with Teddy, and it was tough to see. It sucked he died the way he died, but there's been times coming home when John wanted me to fly home on them little planes from Loudon to go to Wall Stadium. I was like, no, dude, I'll be there in time for the feature. I'll meet you there. I'm not flying in no damn plane, you know what I mean? And the rock style lifestyle, I could drop dead of a heart attack for being a fat ass right now, but you know what I mean? It's just, it caught up to him. And and typical
thing they talked about Josh, they said, here he is, a big-time race car driver, and, he has this very busy transmission business working on big trucks. They said every Monday night he would still go over to Stafford just to watch the go-karts.
Huh.
Yeah, they have a small track at Stafford on the front straightaway, Josh, and they race go-karts there on Monday nights.
Oh, kind of like how the Legend track happens at Charlotte, right?
Right, exactly. And kids would just race go-karts there on Monday nights. They said 9 times out of 10 you would see Teddy Christopher just sitting in the grandstands having a cup of ice cream just watching the kids race go-karts.
It's a great way to be.
They said, he was a busy guy. He lived his life the way he wanted to live it, and he was very successful at everything he did. Definitely check it out. It's about 2.5 hours long. Make sure you have time to watch the whole thing, because once you start watching it, you're not going to shut it off. And be ready to be emotional at the end, because it's all happy times.
What platform was that on?
It's on
I think it's on
YouTube.
YouTube. But I think I got it off Stafford's Facebook page.
Okay.
I think that's where I saw it at. It's really good. But get ready at the end because it's sad. They interview his whole family. They all talk about where they were the day he passed away, what happened. They were waiting for him to arrive at Riverhead. He was going to Riverhead.
Teddy didn't make it for practice, and they're like, "Oh, we don't know where he is," and then it went from there to like, okay, there was a plane that went down, and then pretty much after that, everybody sort of kind of knew, but nobody wanted to say, "Oh, well, that was Teddy's plane," and then they even said it in that show. Frog was one of he actually helped Cecily once in a while now. Frog was a long-time crew member of Teddy's, and he has an airplane license also. He flies planes, and Frog said, yeah, that was Teddy's plane, and then everybody knew from there.
Yeah, they finally got the tail number off it.
Yeah.
You knew the tail number of the plane for Teddy was on, and then unfortunately, Tim has twin daughters with Teddy and Mike Christopher are twins, and Mike Christopher said he could. They always say twins have those weird connections, Josh, and he said he could feel it.
He started crying, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like I just felt like half of me died, and I lost my twin brother. And then he had the tough task of calling Teddy's wife. Teddy's wife was at a wedding in Massachusetts, and he actually had to call her and break the news to her. So, it was a tough day for everybody,
Yeah, no, it was. I remember that day, and it was sucky all around, and I was distant from it. What?
Yeah, we were at Wall Stadium that day.
Yeah.
And they had during at Riverhead, they called all the car owners and crew chiefs over, and they're like, "Listen, Teddy's dead. What do you guys want to do?" And they said, "We're going to race because Teddy would want to race." So, and they raced.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't want to end the show on a sad note, but it's definitely a good show. We want to.
I have a recommendation.
Okay, go ahead.
Ever since the COVID, Bailey and Alexis, we used to go to Mulligan's after the races on Saturday. When we finally, every Saturday, we'd be like, "Daddy, can we go to Mulligan's?" No, I'm not ready to go out yet. Now, it's to the point now where I guess it's safe to go into a restaurant and eat. We didn't get there Saturday night because they had to get up and go back there Sunday. So Bailey stayed at our house. She came back to our house Sunday. So I took her to Mulligan's. And it was the same waitress that was in there a year and a half ago. Make a long story short, Mulligan's food still as good as it ever was. And she said, the owner was there and everything. And they said, come after the races. They're fully involved in staying open. So
they did announce on their Facebook, and they did post it on some of the racing Facebook websites that they are staying open to 1:30 a.m. after the races now.
Yeah.
Now they're fully back open to where they're staying open at 1:30, and they're welcoming the race fans to stop back in like old days.
That's what they wanted me to spread the word that they're committed to staying open. So,
and you've mentioned food, Tim. I did talk to Jeff Lane today. He says he does have a $50 gift certificate for you for River Rock for spotting for him the other couple of nights ago.
You can put that in the same envelope for the tires that you're supposed to buy me.
You can't give me an answer how much tires are or what they're even allowed to run.
Actually, I sent all that stuff to your wife. You told me to send it to your wife.
All right, guys. Let's wrap it up.
It's not my fault they had a tornado there yesterday.
Oh, my God. I want to say I did get involved in iRacing. I haven't had I've done a few little things here and there, as well as I've gotten involved with Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it's been a lot of fun. I've landed the plane at Wall, taken the plane down on the track.
Can you see the track? Can you see the track on the simulator?
There's even banking on it. I mean, it's not the greatest. But, I mean, like, it's better for when you're in the air. But
did you see that guy do? I'm sorry, Josh. Real quick, Scott. You see that guy took the plane down real low during the races last night, or Saturday night?
No, I didn't see that.
He had like an old Red Baron plane. It wasn't a bi-wing, but it was like a single wing one. He went over normal, and then he come back around and he swooped down, and he wasn't that much higher than the tree level. It went right over the backstretch.
What time of day was that at, Tim? So before features?
It must have been. It was during. It might have been during the first feature. It was, put it this way, it was either during the first feature or the last heat race. Do you know what I mean? Like in that time.
No, I didn't notice that.
Oh, cool. And then I want to say with
I want to start first. I
Okay.
learned that my brother is cheaper than me. His daughter's car's got 2-year-old race tires on them. I also learned that Mike Carr could not live any closer to Wall Stadium anyway. That's all I got.
Okay, Tim, what you got?
Nothing. I'm bad now.
Oh, jeez. I learned.
What did I learn? I learned that. I don't know. I learned that Mike Carr. I guess he's still in the racing as much as he used to be. There for a while, I thought he lost interest. I guess he's got that back. Other than that, I learned that Scott actually got to see my daughter finally race the go-kart. And I learned that that Wall Stadium's on the flight simulator. That's probably pretty cool.
No, it's cool. It definitely is. I'll have to share pictures. Okay, so today I learned that Scott and Tim need my equipment. I learned that Scott and Tim are related to Cedar Scull. And I learned that SRX needs a big nut.
You didn't. I thought surely you were going to say something about me having a jammed log for the log foot.
But Josh, real quick. All right, show's pretty much over. This is us babbling if you want to tune out. But Josh, there used to be 2 log flumes there.
Yes.
The other log flume was like little speedboat things, and that was called the Irrawaddy Riptide. That was on the other side of the park.
No, there used to be another one down, I think, where on the other side of the park where, there was 2. There was one over in the corner by where the Dolphin Show used to be, and then there was one on the other side. It was in the same back of the park, kind of like where the Batman ride. Last time I was there, with the Batman ride, there was a second log flume there because we used to go to that one first because nobody was ever in it.
The one by the Batman the one by the Batman, like by the stunt show next to Chiller, by Free Fall. That was the Movie Town water effect. That was the one that was the massive boat that would fit like 16 people.
Oh, wide, right?
And like it would make that giant wave.
That was called like Splashdown or something like that.
They called it the water effect. That's what they called it.
Yeah.
The Splashdown was the other one we were like in the round boat where it went into the waterfall, right?
That was Congo Rapids, which used to be Roaring Rapids.
Rapids,
Just like when they had the Taz Twister, that used to be called the Typhoon, years ago, when you would stick to the wall and the floor would drop.
The best thing at Great Adventure, I don't know, might have been before your time, Scott. You remember when they used to walk through that little city? They had the little city with all the miniature Statue of Liberty and the Twin Tower. Then they made that the mini golf for a while. And there was still some of the miniatures in there. I don't think that's there anymore. You remember that, Josh?
That was before my time, I think.
They have a brand new roller coaster there now. It's called the Jersey Devil. I want to go check that thing out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like one of the biggest single rail roller coaster or something like that. Yeah.
And I used to like the little boats. When you put the quarter in, you had the steering wheel. You could drive the little boats around the water.
Oh, those were cool. Yeah, I actually got the monster trucks to drive up on top of each other like they were mating.
That's a special talent, Josh.
And my favorite ride there was the Runaway Train. Wasn't too bad. wasn't real severe. It was just nice mediocre.
And it was smoother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot smoother than like Rolling Thunder and stuff like that.
I went on a roller coaster once with Janice Blewett, one of the ones that went upside down one time.
Lightning loops.
She wanted me to go on, and that was the only time I ever went on one of those. And I went on the one, was it Free Fall? We used to go straight down.
Yep.
When you get up to the top of that, you'd be like, what the hell am I doing way the hell up here?
Yeah, that buzzer. You knew you were in trouble when that buzzer went off.
Yeah, then I would have to climb that thing.
Too. That ride beat you up pretty good, too.
I used to have to climb that thing like 5 times a day because it would break down all the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah, and then somebody would be stuck at the top, so you'd have to climb. You'd run all the way up to the top just to talk to them until they could get the ride going again. Or you had to unload them. Yeah.
They had to store them that sold those lifelike scary masks back in the day. You remember those?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That place was And the Haunted Mansion, we were lucky enough that there was still a Haunted Mansion when we first started going there.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Wait,
All right,
is that
guys,
the one that burned down?
It's 9:39.
Yes, it's the one that burned down, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, enough of that. Yeah, there's apparently a little girl that still haunts that area after that. So
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
we'll save it for our next conspiracy podcast.
Oh,
which-
did you know that when they cleared all that land and they were going to build that big hotel and all that stuff, now they're making warehouses there, not a hotel?
I don't know if that's true, Tim, because I actually drove by there today, and there's signs out front that they're building a Popeyes restaurant, a 7-Eleven, and there was another sign for something else, like a Uno's Pizza or something like that. I think
Here's another thing. Why hasn't all these areas? There's a Wawa every half mile. There's 3 Wawas on Route 9 and Howell in the 3 mile radius.
Don't you dare knock Wawa. I like my Wawa.
I'm not.
We need more Sonic.
I go to Wawa every day. There's no doubt about that. There's a CVS on every corner. How come nobody in this area, anywhere in this area, has put a Cracker Barrel?
I could go for a Cracker. I need another Sonic. They got rid of mine down here in Waretown. They took
that one didn't last long at all. The one in House not doing that good either.
No, they took out.
Still there.
It's still there, but they took out one whole row of the screens, the order screens.
There's nobody ever in there when I drive by.
Yeah,
well,
and then my Sonic got turned into a Dunkin' Donuts. They got rid of the one down in Manahawkin. I love Sonic.
Sonic doesn't last in this area. That's like a southern Midwest.
I love Sonic. I love
There's
that.
one in Eatontown. There was one in Eatontown.
Yeah, but I'm in Waretown.
Well, anyway, to answer my question, why hasn't anybody built it? How many people?
I heard there's supposed to be a Cracker Barrel going in up by the old Golden Bell Diner, but I never saw
what? That's where the Wawa and the Chick-fil-A are going.
Dude, really? Look, they tore down my Wawa in Waretown too. I got nothing.
Really? Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
That wasn't a Wawa. That was a convenience store with a Wawa sign on it.
It was a ghetto Wawa, but it was a Wawa, and
they call that the Legacy Wawa.
That was an old.
I call them ghetto.
The old style Wawas without a gas station, they're called Legacy Wawas.
They're called ghetto Wawas. I don't know where you're coming from.
That was an old Cumberland Farms with a Wawa sign on it. That's what that place was.
Well, Josh, you got a Tractor Supply by you now. Enjoy it.
All right, good. I can get bolts cheap.
Actually, don't knock it. Tractor Supply is one of those places where you'll get that one thing that you can't find anywhere else. They have crap like that, you know.
And they're opening one by me. They're opening a brand new one on Route 70 and by Route 9. They're opening one of those Aldi supermarkets.
70 in Massachusetts there, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I was there for the water service going in. All right, yeah, that's enough. All right, Scott, take us out before we go into something else.
All right, I just want to apologize. We didn't have to do it the last couple of weeks. Josh was working doubles. I was fixing Nancy's car. But we really do enjoy doing the show. We're going to try to do it every week from here on out while Wall Stadium is racing. I hope you enjoyed it. That wraps up episode 192 of the RPM podcast.
Go to Wall.
Wash your hands, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.